The nature of dreams. Are they windows to our souls? Imagine lying in bed, eyes closed, drifting in and out of a world where the impossible unfurls before you. In this twilight of consciousness, you meet lost friends, revisit forgotten places, and confront the deepest fears that linger beneath the surface of your waking mind. As you awaken, the vivid remnants of your dreams fade, leaving behind only a whisper of their enigmatic tales. What do these nighttime narratives reveal about you? Are dreams merely fleeting figments of imagination, or do they serve as windows into the very soul of who we are? This question takes us into the heart of a profound philosophical inquiry. Dreams have captivated thinkers for centuries. Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, posited that dreams are expressions of our unconscious desires, an imaginative longing for what is repressed in our everyday lives. In this light, your dreams might be seen as a roadmap to the hidden chambers of your psyche, inviting exploration into your unacknowledged yearnings and fears. Conversely, philosopher Carl Jung suggested a broader interpretation, viewing dreams as symbols laden with meaning, emerging not only from personal unconsciousness, but also from a collective unconscious shared among humanity. Jung argued that these symbols can reflect universal themes, archetypes that resonate universally, linking your individual dreams to the broader tapestry of human experience. So are dreams mere reflections of our individual struggles, or do they connect us to a larger narrative that transcends the individual soul? Today, the importance of dreams remains ever relevant. Many people use dreams as tools for self-reflection and personal growth. Recall how the expression dream analysis has become a part of the modern therapeutic lexicon. Therapists guide clients not just in understanding their waking realities, but also in interpreting the vivid stories that emerge from the sleeping mind. This practice validates the belief that through our dreams, we might glean insights about our emotional lives, perhaps even confront issues we've avoided. However, not every philosopher shares this conviction. The skeptic might argue that dreams are simply the brain's processing of information, a nightly housekeeping of thoughts and experiences, rather than profound insights of our deepest selves. In this light, dreams lose their romanticism and become mere neurological phenomena, random firings of neurons and synapses. Yet, if we consider the dialectic between meaning and chaos, we could find that even chaotic dreams possess value, inviting us to engage in the search for meaning even amidst the noise. This dilemma beckons us to explore the significance of dreams in contemporary life. In an era of increasing anxiety and disconnection, might our dreams act as beacons, guiding us back to what truly matters? They could symbolize unprocessed emotions, a gentle nudge to confront what we might otherwise suppress. In a world often characterized by relentless speed, dreams may offer solace, reminders of the depth within us, where meaning and understanding can coexist amidst uncertainty. As you delve into your own dreamscapes tonight, ask yourself, are your dreams merely reflections of daily worries, or are they invitations to explore the depths of your soul? Are they offering insights intended to guide you, or are they ephemeral whispers that drift away upon waking? While no definitive answers may exist, the path toward understanding is a journey worth embracing. So tonight, as you close your eyes, let curiosity lead the way. Who knows what realms of possibility await in the quiet corners of your dreams? Time travel in everyday life, how memories shape our reality. Imagine standing on a quiet street, the evening air still and serene. Suddenly, a cherished melody wafts through the air, instantly transporting you back to a sun-drenched afternoon spent with a loved one. In this moment, time seems to unravel. You are both here and there, past and present intertwined, as emotions surge to the surface. How does memory create these vivid journeys through time? And what does this say about our perception of reality? The experience of memories leads us to contemplate the nature of time itself and how our past influences our current reality. In philosophy, time is often debated as a linear progression or a more cyclical experience. For thinkers like Henry Bergson, time is a fluid duration, an experiential quality that cannot be adequately measured by mere clocks or calendars. In this view, memories exist not as distant recollections, but as integral threads that weave through the fabric of our lives, shaping how we engage with the world around us. Consider the implications of this perspective. Our memories, strikingly vivid or faintly nostalgic, are not simply remnants of the past. They offer interpretive lenses through which we view our present decisions and future aspirations. In phenomenology, as suggested by philosophers like Merleau-Ponty, the body plays a crucial role in how we inhabit our memories. Consequently, they inform our lived experiences, deeply influencing our identities. Each recollection can alter the meanings we attach to our current circumstances, suggesting that every moment is also a reflection of our past choices, joys, and sorrows. Yet, the contrast in philosophical views on time becomes apparent when we delve into the mechanics of memory. The Buddhist concept of anicca, or impermanence, teaches us that everything is transient, including our memories. In this frame, clinging to the past can hinder the experience of the present. Can this awareness help us navigate the complexities of our memories? With the acceptance that everything changes, might we find freedom to embrace each moment fully? Further complicating this tapestry of time is a question posed by time travel aficionados. If we had the ability to revisit pivotal moments, would our memories alter the present? Imagine the power to correct past mistakes or relive blissful experiences. In his writings, philosopher David Lewis explored possible worlds and how alternate choices might lead to different outcomes, a concept that resonates deeply in our everyday lives. Every decision we face unfolds a new timeline in the narrative of our existence. Does our understanding of reality hinge on the choices we remember making, or the choices we wish we could unmake? Memory, often selective and subjective, casts shadows that redefine our reality. Psychologists like Elizabeth Loftus have demonstrated how easily memories can be manipulated, which raises the question, are our recollections reliable guides through time? What does it mean to represent oneself through memories that may be flawed or incomplete? Perhaps the act of remembering is less a journey back in time and more an ongoing creative process, where each retelling reshapes the essence of who we are. As you sit with these reflections, consider how you navigate your own memories. Are they a source of comfort, a tether to your identity, or a burden that occasionally holds you back? Memory shapes our realities, crafting a deeply personal experience of time travel that is unique to each of us. With this understanding, we can embrace our journeys not only as passages through time, but as rich explorations of the self. In quiet contemplation, you might find yourself pondering this. If the past truly influences our present, how then might we construct a future that honors both our memories and the life unfolding now? Perhaps the real power of time travel lies not in revisiting what once was, but in recognizing the possibilities that exist within each present moment, waiting for us to awaken to their potential. The illusion of control, what happens when we let go? Imagine standing on the edge of a vast ocean, waves crashing rhythmically against the shore, each one a gentle reminder of nature's power. You hold tightly onto a frayed rope, believing it will anchor you against the tides. Yet, with each surge of water, you feel the futility of your grip. What would happen if you released this rope? What if you let the tide take you wherever it may, surrendering the illusion of control? This scenario nudges us into a deep philosophical exploration, the widespread belief that we can control our lives, emotions, and circumstances. The quest for control often provides a comforting sense of safety, yet it can also become a source of anxiety and turmoil. René Descartes once posited that human reason is the path to certainty and control, an assertion that resonates with our modern inclination to measure and predict every aspect of life. However, the reality is that much of existence evades our grasp, much like the shifting sands of the beach. Consider the contrasting perspectives of existentialism and stoicism. Existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre emphasize individual agency and the responsibility over our choices, suggesting that we create meaning through decisive action. In this light, control becomes a reflection of our will to shape our identities. Yet, this emphasis on agency can inadvertently worsen our fear of loss and uncertainty, as we become burdened by the weight of every decision, feeling that the fabric of our lives rests solely in our hands. In contrast, Stoic philosophy champions the idea of accepting what we cannot control. Stoicism teaches that we should focus on our responses to external events rather than attempting to manipulate them. Marcus Aurelius, a prominent Stoic, reminds us that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This framework supports the notion that letting go of our desire for control can lead to inner peace, yet it can seem daunting in a world that often equates control with success and security. In contemporary society, this dilemma echoes through the relentless pursuit of perfection, from managing responsibilities at work to curating an ideal online persona. Social pressures urge us to engineer our realities meticulously. However, as we tighten our grip on control, we may inadvertently close ourselves off from spontaneous joys and unexpected opportunities. Each time we attempt to predict every outcome, we push away the richness that unpredictability and serendipity can offer. And so we arrive at the crux of the question: what happens when we let go? Perhaps in surrendering the need for control, we open ourselves to genuine connections with others, flourish in creativity, or embrace vulnerability as a pathway to authenticity. But letting go does not mean abandoning responsibility. Rather, it invites a shift in perspective. It allows us to navigate the currents of life with an acceptance of uncertainty, like a sailor guided by the winds rather than a captain obsessed with commanding them. As you find yourself at the shoreline of existence, consider the question anew. In a world where control can be an illusion, what liberation lies in the act of release? Allow yourself to ponder the delicate dance between agency and acceptance, contemplating the beauty that emerges when we step back and allow life to unfold in its own magnificent rhythm. Voices in our heads, understanding our inner dialogue. Imagine sitting in a quiet room, alone with your thoughts. You close your eyes and numerous voices emerge. Some whisper encouragement, while others hurl criticism. These internal dialogues can be soothing or unsettling, casting light on the intricacies of our inner world. Who are these voices? Are they simply products of our minds, or do they reflect deeper truths about ourselves? This ambivalence invites us to explore the nature of our inner dialogue, a philosophical dilemma that intertwines with our sense of identity and self-awareness. Philosophers have long pondered the significance of internal discourse. René Descartes famously asserted, "Cogito ergo sum," I think, therefore I am, highlighting the act of thinking as fundamental to existence. Through our inner monologues, we create a narrative of self, piecing together our values, aspirations, and fears. Yet if we are shaped by these voices, can we truly discern which thoughts are authentically ours? Hans-Georg Gadamer emphasized that our understanding is influenced by hermeneutics, the art of interpretation. Every thought we entertain is filtered through past experiences, culture, and social norms. This raises an unsettling question. To what extent is our inner dialogue genuinely our own? Are we merely echoes of societal expectations, indoctrinated beliefs, and past traumas? The voices in our heads may guide, but do they also imprison? Contrasting perspectives emerge from multiple philosophical traditions. The Stoics, for example, advocate for gaining mastery over one's thoughts. They argue that while we cannot control external events, we possess the ability to choose our responses. Through practices like reflection and mindfulness, Stoicism encourages us to quiet the cacophony within, fostering resilience in the face of adversity. Yet this raises the inquiry, is it sufficient to suppress these voices, or should we engage with them, understanding their origins and motivations? In modern psychology, the idea of self-talk aligns with concepts found in both Stoic and Buddhist thought. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, champions the idea that our thoughts shape our feelings and behaviors, encouraging individuals to confront their negative inner dialogues and replace them with more constructive narratives. Yet what happens when the voice of self-criticism is relentless? The interplay between self-acceptance and self-improvement becomes a tightrope walk, one that invites endless reflection. Consider, too, the contemporary significance of our inner dialogues in an age dominated by social media. As we project curated versions of ourselves online, the voices of validation or condemnation can reverberate throughout our minds. The feedback we receive often amplifies insecurities and aspirations alike. In this shared digital space, the voices blend, distorted by external perceptions, leading us to question, are we listening to our authentic selves or merely resonating with the expectations of others? Ultimately, the exploration of our internal dialogues leads us into a labyrinth of introspection. As we grow to understand the myriad voices within, we confront not only who we are, but who we aspire to be. This journey is ongoing, punctuated by struggle and insight. Each thought becomes an opportunity for dialogue, a partnership between our mind and heart. So as you sit quietly with your thoughts, ponder this. What narratives do you entertain? Who are the voices that speak to you, and what wisdom do they hold? The process of understanding our inner dialogue is not aimed at eradicating these voices, but enriching our interaction with them. In this dance of thoughts, we find the potential to shape not just our understanding of ourselves, but our very humanity itself. The concept of home, is it a place or a feeling? Imagine a young person standing at the threshold of their childhood home, a place filled with echoes of laughter, warmth, and late-night conversations. Yet as they prepare to leave for a new life in a distant city, a question arises. Is home merely the walls that shelter us, or is it something deeper, an emotion entwined with memory and connection? This subtle distinction between home as a place and home as a feeling invites us to reflect profoundly on what it truly means to belong. The concept of home elicits diverse interpretations across philosophical thought. On one hand, the German philosopher Martin Heidegger suggested that being at home is fundamentally about attunement to one's surroundings. Home is a state of being within the world where we feel secure and understood. For Heidegger, it is not just a physical space, but a relational experience that shapes our very understanding of existence. In this sense, home becomes a feeling, a comforting familiarity that transcends mere architecture. Conversely, a more materialist perspective might assert that home is unequivocally tied to physical space. The sociologist Yi-Fu Tuan offers a compelling discussion of the topophilia, the emotional bond between people and their environments. In this view, home consists of specific places filled with personal and cultural significance. The ancestral house, the community center, or even the city skyline, each can evoke the essence of home through shared experiences and history. Without these tangible spaces, the concept of home may seem less substantial. Take, for instance, the modern phenomenon of migration. In a world that encourages movement and change, many people find themselves redefining what home means to them. A refugee, for example, is often forced to leave a beloved home behind, yet may carry the feeling of home within, manifested in the tastes of familiar cuisine, the cadence of a cherished language, or the shared rituals of their culture. In this way, one can argue that home transforms into a feeling rooted in identity and memory, rather than a fixed location. Yet the essence of home is not without its complexities. Consider the philosopher Gaston Bachelard, who believed that our memories and dreams shape our sense of place. He posited that a home is layered with our aspirations, fears, and dreams, acting as a vessel for personal narratives. However, such inner landscapes can be at odds with external realities. A meticulously curated home can evoke feelings of unease if it lacks the warmth of genuine connection, a space that, while decorated beautifully, feels devoid of life. This leads us to ponder the implications of our modern lifestyles. With the rise of digital nomadism and remote work, people create homes in transient settings. They seek comfort in coffee shops while connecting via screens rather than through brick and mortar. Are they detached from the idea of home? Or do they redefine it as a feeling sustained by relationships rather than a fixed physical presence? As we navigate these reflections, it becomes evident that the concept of home is slippery, a dance between place and feeling. Is it the familiar skyline of a childhood city, or the feelings of comfort and safety wrapped up in the arms of a loved one that define our notion of home? Perhaps it is both a place and a feeling, intricately intertwined. Ultimately, the question remains open. In our quest for belonging, will we seek a physical structure to ground us, or will we find solace in the ephemeral yet profound feelings that connect us to one another? Reflect on this duality, for the answer is not fixed, but rather a personal journey shaped by each of our stories. And there, within the space between place and feeling, lies the essence of what we call home. The meaning of silence. What can absence reveal? Imagine wandering through a dense forest, the cacophony of the world fading away. The air is thick with the scent of earth and the whisper of leaves. In this serene stillness, every sound appears amplified: the chirp of a distant bird, the rustle of a small creature. You come across a glade where the silence feels almost palpable, as if it holds a deeper truth waiting to be uncovered. In this quiet space, we encounter a profound question. What meaning might silence, and the absence it conveys, reveal to us? Silence, in its essence, is often viewed as a void, a lack of communication or noise. Yet many philosophers argue that it holds rich potential for introspection and understanding. Martin Heidegger posited that silence can reveal the very essence of being, encouraging individuals to confront the depths of their existence. In this way, silence urges us to listen more closely to ourselves, to the world around us, and to the complexity of our emotions. When we embrace silence, we have the opportunity to sift through the noise of everyday life and uncover personal truths we often ignore. On the other hand, Emmanuel Levinas highlights how silence can also signify absence of another person, a community, or even a sense of self. For Levinas, the experience of absence prompts ethical reflection. When someone is silent or absent, we confront the void left behind, awakening our responsibility toward others. It can evoke feelings of longing, a reminder of connection that once was or could be. This absence can drive us to act, to reach out, to communicate, to create meaning in the silence. Think about the world today. In a society suffocated by constant notifications and digital interactions, moments of true silence are rare. Yet many health advocates suggest that these moments are necessary for mental clarity and emotional balance. The mindfulness movement encourages us to seek stillness, to listen not only to the external, but also to the internal whispers of our minds and hearts. In silence, we may find the space to reflect on our relationships, our goals, and our purpose in life. Silence can prompt us to interrogate our own ethics and values, allowing us to reconnect with what is truly important. Yet, silence can also be unsettling. It has the power to evoke fears and insecurities. Think of the silence that follows a painful argument, or the quiet that ensues after loss. Friedrich Nietzsche recognized the uncomfortable tension that silence can bring. He warned that it may reflect an absence of understanding or engagement with the world. If silence becomes a refusal to communicate, it can fracture relationships, making the task of rebuilding bridges seem daunting. In these moments, we are challenged to explore what our silence means. Is it a protective shield or a barrier that disconnects us further from one another? Ultimately, the contemplation of silence and absence reveals the complexities of the human experience. It invites us to explore both the gifts and burdens that come with quietude. In what ways does silence lead us into deeper self-awareness? How does it illuminate our relationships and ethical responsibilities? These questions linger, encouraging us to embrace and reinterpret the spaces of absence in our lives. As we continue to ponder the meaning of silence, let us reflect on our own experiences. What do the silences in our lives tell us, not just about others, but about ourselves? In this ongoing exploration, we might discover that silence is not merely an absence, but rather a profound invitation to listen more closely, both to ourselves and to the world around us. Exploring the colors of emotion. How do they influence us? Imagine a world without color. Every emotion, whether joy, sorrow, anger, or love, exists in shades of gray. How might our lives change in such a muted landscape? Colors enrich our experiences and often symbolize our feelings, shaping how we perceive situations and interact with others. This vivid interplay between emotion and color invites us into a philosophical exploration of how emotions influence not only individual lives, but the very fabric of society itself. The philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein once suggested that colors can shape our perception of the world as profoundly as language. While some argue that emotions are universal, interconnected with biological responses, others contend that culture bestows unique meanings upon them. For instance, the color red may evoke feelings of love in some cultures, while representing danger or anger in others. This raises a crucial question. Are our emotions innately tied to colors, or are they constructed through societal contexts? Consider the work of artists like Wassily Kandinsky, who believed colors could elicit distinct emotions and responses. His theory posits a synesthetic relationship between color and feeling, suggesting that the color blue might instill a sense of calmness, while yellow vibrates with a chaotic energy. This idea intertwines with the philosophy of aesthetics, challenging us to discern how our emotional landscapes are painted by the colors surrounding us. In contemporary life, the significance of colors is undeniable, from the branding of products to the therapeutic practices of color psychology. Companies strategically choose colors for logos, recognizing that a shade of blue can evoke trust, while red can stimulate appetite and passion. Meanwhile, therapists may incorporate colors into healing practices, guiding clients toward emotional release or stability. Yet in this age of commercialization, one must ponder, are our emotional responses to colors genuine, or have they been crafted by societal trends and advertising? Contrasting perspectives emerge when we consider existentialism. Thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre might argue that the meaning we ascribe to colors is merely a projection of our subjective experience. While colors can influence emotions, they do not dictate them. They are tools of expression rather than prescriptive guides. This view opens a door to self-determination, suggesting that our feelings are not solely conditioned by external stimuli. Instead, we weave our emotional responses into the tapestry of our lives, influenced yet autonomous. As we navigate this spectrum of thought, it becomes clear that the relationship between color and emotion operates on multiple levels. Emotions may be colored by our internal psychologies and cultural narratives, but they also serve as a canvas for human expression. Our choices, moods, and experiences imbue colors with meaning, transforming them from mere visual stimuli into profound communicators. In this reflective journey, we find ourselves at a crossroads. The tapestry of life is rich with emotions, each thread colored by our experiences, beliefs, and cultural backgrounds. As we engage with this palette, we are reminded that while colors can guide our feelings, the true depth of these emotions lies within our ability to interpret, understand, and connect with them. Perhaps, like a painting awaiting completion, the question of how emotions influence us is one we must continue to explore, inviting us to discover not only the colors around us, but also those within ourselves. What hues will you choose to embrace today? What shades might evolve tomorrow? The journey of understanding is infinite, encouraging endless reflection. The enigma of identity. Are we ever truly ourselves? Imagine waking up one morning in a different body, a stranger's face gazing back at you in the mirror. Your memories remain intact, fragments of your life, your loved ones, your joys and pains, but the vessel that held your essence has completely changed. Are you still you? This question nudges us toward the profound philosophical dilemma of identity. If our physical form is not essential to who we are, then what truly defines us? To delve into this enigma, let's consider the thoughts of philosophers like John Locke, who famously suggested that personal identity is tied to consciousness and memory. For Locke, it is not our bodies, but our memories and self-awareness that make us who we are. If you retain all your memories, he argues, then you are the same person, no matter the body you inhabit. Yet this view raises compelling questions. What about those suffering from amnesia who lose chunks of their identity? Are they no longer themselves? Does our essence somehow persist, or is it ever shifting in response to our experiences and how we perceive them? Contrasting this, the philosopher David Hume proposed a more fluid understanding of identity. He suggested that there is no stable self, but instead a bundle of perceptions and experiences that change with time. According to Hume, clinging to a static idea of self may only lead to confusion. The you of yesterday is gone, replaced by the you of today, enriched or marred by experiences, emotions, and encounters. This fluidity can be liberating, as it permits us to redefine ourselves throughout our lives. Yet it also raises a poignant concern. If our identities are so malleable, can we truly cultivate a sense of self, or are we perpetually in flux? In contemporary discussions, the theme of identity extends into realms like technology and social media. We curate online personas that may not reflect our true selves, presenting polished versions of who we are to the world. This skewed representation can create dissonance between our virtual identity and our lived experience, amplifying the question, in a world full of filters and curated highlights, are we ever truly authentic? Psychologists warn of the impacts this can have on our psychological well-being, as we grapple with the disparity between our public and private selves. Moreover, the rise of artificial intelligence invites us to ponder whether a digital extension of ourselves, such as avatars or algorithms that predict our behaviors, could shape who we become. If our choices are influenced by data-driven profiles, could we argue that our identities are being shaped externally rather than emerging from within? This merging of self with technology leads to the thought that perhaps our identities are an intricate tapestry woven from interactions with the world, others, and ourselves. Ultimately, the question of whether we are ever truly ourselves lingers, encouraging us to reflect on the nature of our existence. Are we defined by our memories and experiences, or are we an ever-evolving creation, molded by our choices and circumstances? As we navigate the labyrinth of identity, we may find comfort in the uncertainty. The enigma invites us to embrace change, to explore the depths of who we are, and perhaps to discover, in every fleeting moment, the unique signature of being human. As you ponder this, remember, the journey toward understanding our identity may be as significant as the destination itself. Reality versus perception. How do our senses deceive us? Imagine standing on a serene beach, the sun dipping below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. You hear the gentle crash of waves, feel the soft breeze on your skin, and taste the salt in the air. Yet, is the beauty you perceive truly there, or is it just an illusion crafted by your senses? What if you learned that the colors you see are not the same as those seen by someone else, or that your perception of taste differs dramatically from reality? This conundrum leads us into the heart of a philosophical issue, the distinction between reality and perception. Philosophers have grappled with these questions for centuries, engaging in a dialogue about how our senses inform our understanding of the world. Renowned figures like René Descartes famously doubted the reliability of the senses, arguing that our perceptions can be fundamentally deceptive, leading us to question the very nature of reality itself. In his meditations, Descartes posed the possibility of dreaming or even the existence of an evil demon manipulating our thoughts, suggesting that our sensory experience might not reflect reality as it truly is. Yet, contrasting perspectives also abound. The empiricists, including John Locke and David Hume, held that our experiences through the senses form the very foundation of knowledge. They posited that while our senses may be fallible, they nevertheless offer us essential clues about the external world. Hume, for instance, acknowledged that perceptions can mislead, yet he also maintained that our trust in sensory input is grounded in habit and past experiences. In this view, even if some perceptions are illusory, they guide us in navigating our lives. In our modern world, this philosophical inquiry resonates more than ever. Consider the filters we apply to our photographs, or the way social media curates our experiences, creating a facade of perfection that contrasts sharply with reality. We are inundated with augmented realities, virtual spaces, and manipulated images that challenge our senses and perceptions daily. As we immerse ourselves in these carefully crafted environments, one must wonder, do we experience moments as they are, or as they are presented to us? Furthermore, the very essence of truth in our contemporary age is questioned. With deepfakes and misinformation, the lines between perception and reality blur even further. How do we discern what is real when our senses are constantly bombarded with manipulated stimuli? The philosophical implications here are profound, as they urge us to examine our beliefs about what we perceive and urge us to be cautious about dismissing the subjective experiences of others. Yet, when we seek to untangle the relationship between our senses and reality, we may not arrive at definitive answers. Perhaps reality is multifaceted, experienced uniquely by each individual, shaped by past beliefs, emotions, and cultural contexts. Our senses may deceive us, but they also connect us to the world and each other, imbuing our lives with depth and meaning. As you continue to reflect on this dilemma, consider how you perceive the world around you. Is reality simply an amalgamation of sensations interpreted through your unique lens? Or might there exist a more profound truth beyond the reach of human perception? In exploring these questions, we might find openness to the complexities of existence, inviting a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world we live in. Nature as a teacher. What can we learn from its rhythms? Imagine standing atop a mountain, feeling the gentle breeze against your skin as you breathe in the fresh, invigorating air. Below you, a river winds its way through the landscape, moving steadily yet fluidly, navigating around rocks, bends, and obstacles. Each season brings a new tapestry of colors and sounds, a tranquil reminder of life's ever-changing rhythms. In these moments, one might ponder, what lessons does nature impart to us, and can we, as human beings, align ourselves more harmoniously with its teachings? The philosophical inquiry into nature as a teacher invites us to reflect on our place within the natural world and the insights we might draw from its rhythms. Thinkers like Ralph Waldo Emerson and Henry David Thoreau have long championed nature's power to foster personal growth and understanding. Emerson believed that nature was a divine manifestation, a source of inspiration that could help individuals discover their true selves. For Thoreau, the natural world was a space of deep reflection, offering wisdom hidden within its simplicity. The solitude of Walden Pond taught him not just about self-reliance, but also about interconnections, the deep ties between all living beings. Contrasting this perspective, some philosophers, like Jean-Jacques Rousseau, have posited a return to nature as a means of reclaiming lost innocence and authenticity. Rousseau's view suggests that societal constructs often alienate individuals from their natural state. If we were to embrace the rhythms of nature, we might find ourselves liberated from the artificial constraints that modern life imposes upon us, allowing compassion, spontaneity, and genuine emotion to flourish. Yet, what does it truly mean to learn from nature? Is it merely adopting its cyclical patterns or embarking on a deeper quest for understanding? For instance, consider the concept of growth. Nature is replete with examples of resilience. Trees bend in the wind but do not break. Seeds lie dormant until conditions are just right for germination. This leads to the question of how we navigate challenges in our lives. Do we, like the mighty oak, become stronger through adversity, or do we find ourselves stunted by our fears? The Stoic philosophy, espoused by figures like Marcus Aurelius, connects deeply with this, reminding us that our responses to external events shape our internal peace. In today's context, as urban living increasingly distances us from natural environments, we may become disenchanted with the lessons that nature offers. The frenetic pace of modern life risks overshadowing the importance of slowing down, of becoming attuned to our surroundings. How often do we take a moment to listen to the rustling leaves, the chirping of birds, or even the rhythmic pulses of waves against the shore? The simple act of mindfulness invites reflection, allowing us to embrace the present, just as a river, coursing steadily toward its destination, embodies the beauty of the journey, rather than being solely focused on the end. As we ponder these questions, it becomes clear that learning from nature is as much about introspection as it is about observation. What can we truly uncover by aligning ourselves with its teachings? The persistence of life against the odds speaks to resilience and adaptability, while the quiet rhythms of dawn and dusk hint at the delicate balance we strive to maintain within ourselves. In closing, as we contemplate the lessons nature offers, we're left with an open invitation to engage in lifelong learning, to remain curious about the rhythms that shape our world, and to explore how these insights might inspire us to lead more meaningful lives. What lessons have you uncovered from your own experiences in nature? The journey of exploration continues, inviting you to watch, listen, and learn from the curriculum of the earth. The paradox of choice. Do more options lead to greater happiness? Imagine standing in an aisle lined with cereal boxes, each one appealing in its colorful packaging and promise of deliciousness. There's granola, sugary flakes, and even gluten-free options. As you peruse, the endless variations begin to overwhelm you. Each choice seems to carry the weight of a potential regret, a fork in the road that could lead to culinary delight or disappointment. In a world bursting with choices, does having more options truly lead to happier decisions? This is the paradox of choice, a philosophical dilemma that highlights a curious interplay between freedom and anxiety. In our pursuit of autonomy, we often assume that the abundance of choices contributes to our happiness. Barry Schwartz, in his book, The Paradox of Choice, argues that while choice is essential for our autonomy, an overabundance can lead to paralysis and dissatisfaction. The very freedom we cherish can sometimes feel like a burden, leading us to second-guess our decisions, caught in a web of comparison. Consider the philosophies of existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre, who believed that our ability to choose defines our existence. To choose is to assert our freedom, a fundamental part of what it means to be human. Yet Sartre also acknowledged the anguish that comes with this freedom. With choices comes responsibility, and the possibility of making the wrong choice can lead to a heavy heart. Does our myriad of options then provide liberation, or merely intensify our existential angst? Contrast this perspective with utilitarianism, as discussed by thinkers like John Stuart Mill. According to this theory, happiness stems from maximizing pleasure and minimizing pain. More choices could ostensibly lead to greater happiness by offering more paths to pleasure. But in reality, with each choice arises the potential for dissatisfaction. Too many options might distort our expectations, making it difficult to appreciate what we have. Modern-day scenarios illustrate this dilemma vividly. Online shopping offers consumers countless items, yet it often culminates in indecision. Do we really benefit from the plethora of options? Studies reveal that increased choices can lead to decreased satisfaction. One study showed that participants who chose from 6 different kinds of jam were more likely to make a purchase than those who faced 24 options, despite the latter having a wider selection. The illusion of choice can leave us feeling trapped and unsatisfied, even when we think we desire it. In a society that champions individualism, the myriad choices available can confuse our sense of identity. We may feel pressured to curate our lives, careers, and relationships meticulously, fearing that a wrong choice might lead to regret or even an inferior version of ourselves. As psychologist Barry Schwartz posits, the relentless pursuit of the perfect choice becomes exhausting. Yet amidst this paradox, there's a beautiful space for reflection. Choosing is inherently human, a dance between freedom and choice, joy and regret. The question beckons us to explore whether happiness is found in the number of options we have or in the depth of our choices. Is it in selecting the perfect cereal or in the act of enjoying a cozy morning ritual with whatever we choose? As we navigate this intricate landscape of choice, perhaps the greatest wisdom lies not in seeking a multitude of options, but in cultivating an appreciation for the choices we make. In a world overflowing with possibilities, we might find solace in knowing that happiness may stem from within, not from the abundance around us. As you ponder this paradox, consider, can true contentment be found in simplicity, or does the allure of choice always beckon us onward? The art of letting go, how clinging holds us back. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast ocean, waves crashing against the shore, each one a chance to let go of the burdens you carry. The sand beneath your feet is warm, yet heavy, weighed down by all that you clutch tightly, a failed relationship, a lost opportunity, past regrets. As you inhale deeply, can you feel the weight of what you hold? What if the very act of holding on is what keeps you from truly living? This is the dilemma of clinging, the tension between attachment and freedom. Philosophers throughout history have grappled with the implications of our attachments, how they shape our identity and influence our happiness. Existentialist thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre discuss the authenticity of being, suggesting that clinging to past experiences can lead to bad faith, a denial of our freedom to choose and act in the present. To fully embrace our essence, we must confront and release what no longer serves us. Conversely, Stoic philosophers, exemplified by Epictetus, remind us that it is not the events themselves that disturb us, but our thoughts about those events. They advocate for a mindset that cultivates acceptance and detachment, urging us to relinquish our hold on external outcomes. The Stoics teach that by letting go of our attachments to things outside our control, we find greater peace and resilience. But how often do we resist this wisdom, fearing that if we let go, we may lose a part of ourselves? In contemporary life, the relevance of clinging is stark. We cling to social media likes, to the approval of those around us, to our notions of success. Each notification that pings illuminates our minds, but also affixes us more tightly to the ephemeral. Studies show that excessive attachment to these digital interactions can lead to anxiety and depression, proof that clinging can inhibit our freedom and connection to the present. Are we enslaved by our desires and fears, or can we embrace the liberating art of letting go? Yet the process of letting go is not straightforward. It can be laden with guilt, fear, and nostalgia. The philosopher Alan Watts often spoke of the necessity of surrender, suggesting that in the act of letting go, we do not lose ourselves, but rather uncover the deeper layers of our existence. Like leaves drifting from a tree, we must recognize that what we release makes way for new growth. It is in this paradox that we find hope, that our attachments can transform into sources of wisdom if we allow them to move through us rather than stagnate. As we contemplate the natures of attachment and freedom, the question arises, what does it mean to truly let go? Are we shedding skin or inviting in new possibilities? The answers may vary, as each person's journey is unique. Perhaps the most profound step lies in inviting contemplation into our lives, acknowledging our clinging without judgment and moving toward a gentle acceptance of change. As the ocean waves continue to kiss the shore, let us sit with the invitation to reflect. What is it that you find difficult to release? Can you take a small step towards letting go? The ongoing dance between clinging and surrender is not just a philosophical conundrum. It is an invitation to live more fully, with each breath carrying the potential of renewal. The journey of letting go beckons, softly inviting us to explore what lies beyond our grasp, still waiting to be discovered. The human experience of time, is it linear or cyclical? Imagine standing on a hillside, watching the sun rise and set day after day, each dawn a gentle reminder of life's rhythms. As the sun arcs across the sky, we might start to ponder, is time merely a straight line stretching from past to future, or is it more like a circle, continuously looping back on itself? This question leads us into the profound philosophical dilemma surrounding our understanding of time, whether we conceive of it as linear or cyclical. In the linear conception of time, we navigate through moments that flow in a singular direction, from past to present to future. This vision is closely tied to the dominant narratives of Western thought, where philosophers like Immanuel Kant propose that time is an absolute framework bounding human experience. In this view, each moment is a stepping stone, and life unfolds like a narrative, with personal histories shaped by actions and events that lay sequentially behind us. Transitioning time becomes a journey of progress, marked by milestones of achievement and growth. Contrasting this is a cyclical view, where time is seen as a spiral, looping back on itself. Many Eastern philosophies, including Buddhism and Hinduism, embrace this perspective, suggesting that existence and experiences repeat in cycles. This idea manifests in the concept of samsara, where life, death, and rebirth recur. The cyclical understanding of time emphasizes the interconnectedness of all experiences, where every end serves as a preface to a new beginning, fostering a sense of continuity and harmony. In this light, time is less about moving forward and more about recurring cycles of growth and transformation. Both views hold real-world resonance. Think of the seasons, the ebb and flow of nature, the birth of a flower in spring, its decline in summer, death in autumn, and rebirth in winter encapsulates the cyclical nature of existence. This pattern can evoke reassurance amid change, reminding us that endings are simply transitions, not finality. Yet the linear idea of time encourages aspiration, driving us to dream, innovate, and learn. It fuels journeys toward personal and collective futures, pushing humanity to expand beyond its bounds. In contemporary society, our experiences reflect a blend of these philosophies. Many of us feel the tug of nostalgia, longing for the past while attempting to build meaningful futures, illustrating a linear progression. Yet we also witness the resurgence of vintage trends or regain insights through historical reflection, echoing a cyclical sentiment. In our fast-paced world, we operate within a spectrum, tracking progress through time while simultaneously finding comfort in patterns of return. As we stand at this crossroads of understanding time, we find ourselves retreating to deeply personal contemplations. The question of whether time is linear or cyclical invites us to explore our individual experiences of growth, transformation, and continuity. How do you perceive your own life story? Do you feel as though you are moving in a straight line toward a goal, or are you navigating through recurring themes, learning anew from each cycle? Ultimately, this philosophical inquiry enriches our understanding of existence. There may not be a definitive answer, and perhaps that is the beauty of it. Time is not just a construct. It is an intricate part of what it means to be human. a soft tapestry woven from both moments of forward motion and those echoing back. As we contemplate this relationship with time today, may we open ourselves to the possibilities that both linearity and circularity offer, allowing us to flow with the rhythm of our existence. The role of myth in modern life. What stories guide us today? Imagine walking through a dense forest, sunlight filtering through the leaves, illuminating a winding path. Alongside this tranquil journey, whispers of ancient stories fill the air. Stories of heroes and gods, of trials and triumphs, guiding countless lives through moral dilemmas. In our modern lives, do we still find meaning and guidance within such myths? What role do these age-old narratives play in shaping our identities and values today? As we delve into the essence of myth, we discover that these narratives do not merely reside in the past. They continue to echo through our culture, irrespective of the religions we may or may not subscribe to. Joseph Campbell, a prominent mythologist, proposed the idea of the monomyth, or the hero's journey, illustrating how many of the world's stories share common threads of adventure, growth, and transformation. This journey reflects our struggles and aspirations as humans, allowing us to confront our fears and emerge more whole. From a philosophical perspective, myths can be seen through contrasting lenses. Plato, for instance, critiqued mythology in the Republic, arguing that myths could mislead rather than enlighten. He believed that they often presented distorted truths about the divine and the human experience, ultimately risking the erosion of rational thought. Yet in contrast, thinkers like Carl Jung revered myths as a repository for collective unconsciousness, positing that they encapsulate universal symbols and themes that guide self-discovery. Jung's notion invites us to consider the function of myth not as mere fiction, but as a profound reflection of our psyches. Today, we find ourselves navigating a world where scientific rationality often reigns supreme. Yet, the relevance of myth remains undeniable. The stories we turn to shape our understanding of morality, justice, and purpose. For instance, the fables of Aesop teach values like kindness and responsibility, while contemporary myths, like comic book narratives featuring superheroes, address the complexities of good versus evil. The continuously evolving narrative of these superheroes allows modern society to grapple with ethical dilemmas, from issues of identity and power to justice and inequality. As we seek direction, these narratives shape our language of shared experiences. Consider the deep connections woven through stories around campfires, on social media, or even in our family traditions. These myths, though sometimes overlooked, can provide solace in times of uncertainty, comforting us with a sense of belonging and continuity. They bridge generational gaps, imparting wisdom while nurturing imagination and creativity. Yet amidst their guidance, myths also harbor the potential for conflict. With varying interpretations shaping cultural identities, what is considered a guiding narrative for one group may be deemed a source of division for another. This duality compels us to reflect, to consider not only the stories that uplift us, but also those that may perpetuate misunderstandings or conflict. Ultimately, as we ponder the role of myth in our lives, the question arises, are we, too, creators of our myths? In an age where information is abundant, are we spinning narratives that inspire connection, empathy, and transformation? Or are we trapped in stories that divide and consume us? The exploration of myth invites us into a contemplative space. It encourages us to sift through our contemporary lives, engage with the narratives that still resonate, and perhaps even redefine the stories we choose to tell. As we reflect on these elements, we are reminded that the journey, like the forest path, is not merely about finding answers, but embracing the questions that shape our narratives and our lives. Human connection. Is isolation the ultimate fear? Imagine wandering through a deserted landscape, the silence stretching endlessly around you. There's an unsettling tranquility in the absence of sound, of laughter, of connection. Now consider, in this solitude, does fear emerge quietly from the depths of our psyche? Are we, at our core, terrified of isolation? Is it perhaps the ultimate fear, a looming shadow that haunts our desire for connection? The question of isolation invites us to delve into the philosophical undercurrents that shape human existence. Historically, thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre grappled with such themes. His assertion, "hell is other people," intriguingly flips the narrative on interpersonal connection. While he captures the discomforts and burdens of social interaction, many might argue that Sartre oversimplifies a complex relationship. Human beings are not merely social creatures. We thrive on connection, deriving meaning and purpose from our relationships with others. In contrast, philosophers like Martin Heidegger suggest that our being in the world is fundamentally relational. Heidegger points toward Mitsein, or being with others, emphasizing that our very identity is shaped by our interactions. To be human is to find ourselves in relation to others, each connection a thread woven into our existential tapestry. This raises a poignant contradiction. While we seek connection, the fear of isolation lurks beneath, whispering of abandonment and loneliness. In today's fast-paced, hyper-connected world, we are paradoxically more isolated than ever. Social media connects us at an unprecedented scale, yet studies reveal increasing rates of loneliness and alienation. The very platforms designed to foster connection often leave us feeling more isolated, as superficial interactions replace deep, meaningful relationships. Are we, like Sisyphus, forever pushing the boulder of isolation uphill, only to have it roll back down as we scroll through curated glimpses of others' lives? This sense of isolation extends beyond the digital realm into shared physical spaces. Consider the experience of sitting in a crowded cafe, surrounded by bustling conversations, yet feeling a profound disconnect. The yearning for genuine human connection contrasts with the overwhelming presence of isolation. In our modern existential crisis, the question arises, is it the fear of being alone that drives us to seek connection, or is it the inherent belief that our worth is defined by our relationships? Philosophers like Emmanuel Levinas propose that our ethical responsibility to one another transcends mere existence. When we encounter another person, we confront a relationship that demands care and empathy. The fear of isolation, then, is not simply about solitude. It is about the pain of not being seen or valued. As we navigate through life, the quest for human connection becomes a quest for recognition, a validation of our existence. Yet what if solitude held its own form of liberation? The poet Rainer Maria Rilke suggests that solitude can be a fertile ground for self-reflection and personal growth. In moments of quiet, away from the clamoring noise, we may find the deepest truths about ourselves. Thus, could the fear of isolation, rather than a dark despair, be an invitation to explore the depths of our own being? As we ponder the nature of isolation and connection, we find ourselves at a crossroads, aware of our interconnectedness, yet burdened by the specter of solitude. Where do we go from here? Each individual's relationship with isolation and connection is unique, shaped by personal experiences, fears, and aspirations. Perhaps the answer lies not in dismissing one state for the other, but in embracing the interplay between connection and solitude. In this dance of existence, we may find both the courage to reach out and the grace to rest in silence, forever pondering the intricate tapestry of human connection. Wonder as a daily practice, how to rediscover awe. Imagine standing on a desolate beach at dawn, the horizon painted in delicate hues of pink and gold. Each wave that crashes gently at your feet seems to whisper secrets of the universe. It's a moment that could easily slip past us, the mundane encroaching on the miraculous. In a world filled with distractions and obligations, how often do we pause to marvel at the sheer beauty and complexity around us? This contemplation leads us to a profound philosophical issue. How can we cultivate wonder as a daily practice, especially in a time when our lives often feel overwhelmingly regimented and predictable? Philosopher Albert Einstein famously professed, "The most beautiful experience we can have is the mysterious." He believed that the fuel for scientific inquiry and imagination lies in our capacity to experience awe. Yet, what does it mean to experience wonder? For Plato, the feeling of awe is intricately tied to knowledge. The more we learn about our world, the more we become entranced by its layers of depth. Yet the key is not merely to observe, but to engage as active participants in the world's unfolding narrative. In contrast, existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre might challenge us to consider whether wonder can exist in a seemingly absurd world devoid of inherent meaning. Sartre argues that we must create our own essence and find significance through action. In this light, Acknowledging moments of awe might seem trivial amid life's existential battles, but perhaps wonder is not an escape from the chaos, but rather an essential component in confronting it. To bridge these philosophical thoughts with the modern experience, consider how easily we become ensnared in our devices, scrolling through the endless scroll of information, detached from the tangible world before us. Social media offers a curated collection of moments, yet they often lack the depth needed to evoke true wonder. How can we recapture that sense of awe that once belonged to childhood, when the mysteries of nature, human connection, and the universe beckoned us to explore? Some suggest that daily practices can foster wonder, such as mindfulness or meditation. These practices ask us to cultivate presence, to actively engage our senses in the world around us. The late poet John Keats believed that to embrace beauty fully, one must be vulnerable. Wonder requires openness to the ephemeral, an acceptance that beauty can be fleeting. In reality, wonder often comes hand in hand with discomfort. We may feel insignificant in the face of the vast cosmos or forced to confront our fragile humanity amidst nature's splendor. Perhaps this duality between awe and the vulnerability it invokes is fundamental to the practice of wonder. Philosophers like Soren Kierkegaard would argue that it is in embracing these contradictions that we unearth authentic experiences. So how do we weave wonder into our daily lives? Is it through intentional pauses to observe a sunset? Or is it through deeper reflections on relationships, the intricacies of a story, or the marvel of existence itself? As you go forth from this moment, I invite you to contemplate your own relationship with wonder. When was the last time you stopped to bask in the intricacies of a leaf or to listen deeply to the laughter of a friend? In a world that urges us to rush, what might it mean to invite a sense of awe back into your daily rhythm? Allow your thoughts to wander. Reconnect with the idea that wonder is not just a fleeting feeling, but a profound practice of reverence for life itself, beckoning us to listen closely and look deeply. The power of rituals. Do they ground us or limit us? Imagine a quiet Sunday morning, where the aroma of freshly brewed coffee mingles with the soft sounds of nature outside. In this serene setting, a family gathers around the table, engaged in a familiar ritual, sharing stories, passing dishes, perhaps a prayer before the meal. As they partake in this tradition, a question emerges. Do these rituals provide a sense of grounding and belonging, or do they constrain individual expression and freedom? The power of rituals is a philosophical conundrum that has engaged thinkers across cultures and eras. On one hand, rituals can provide structure and a sense of security in an often chaotic world. Emil Durkheim, a prominent sociologist, emphasized the social function of rituals, asserting that they foster community cohesion and strengthen bonds among members of a society. When we engage in communal rituals, we connect with something larger than ourselves, our heritage, our shared values, and the collective memory of our ancestors. This shared experience can become a source of comfort, grounding us amidst life's uncertainties. Yet, the other side of the coin reveals a more restrictive dimension. Existentialist philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre challenge the idea that rituals are inherently beneficial. They argue that rituals can become cages, fostering conformity and stifling individual authenticity. By adhering to prescribed practices, we may inadvertently suppress our unique desires and needs. In a society that values individualism, one might question, do we genuinely choose to participate in these rituals, or are we merely following a script handed down through generations? The real-world implications of this dilemma are evident in various contexts, from religious observances to cultural rites of passage. Consider the countless individuals who question the rituals of the faith into which they were born. For some, these practices serve as a vital connection to their identity. For others, they feel like chains that bind them to beliefs they no longer embrace. The tension between belonging and autonomy raises critical questions. How do we honor our roots while simultaneously forging our paths? Moreover, in an increasingly secular world, the need for rituals persists. They may manifest in unexpected ways. Families might create new traditions, organizations may establish annual gatherings, or communities may celebrate seasonal festivals. In these cases, rituals can evolve, filling the void left by abandoning older practices. Yet we must ask ourselves, When do these new rituals reflect genuine communal values? And when do they serve merely as a facade, distracting us from deeper existential inquiries? As we navigate this landscape, we find ourselves at a crossroads. On one path lies the embrace of ritual as a means of grounding, an anchor in the tempest of modern life. On the other, we walk the tightrope of freedom and self-expression, questioning whether we risk losing ourselves in the traditions we hold dear. In contemplating the power of rituals, whether they ground us or limit us, we are left with an open-ended inquiry. What rituals shape your life, and do they elevate your spirit or confine your essence? The answer may be as varied as the individuals who ponder the question, inviting us all to reflect on our choices and the meaning they bring. In this delicate balance between belonging and autonomy, perhaps we can find a more nuanced understanding of how we weave the fabric of our lives, one ritual at a time. What we leave behind, how does legacy shape our lives? Imagine standing in a quiet room filled with photographs, each image representing a moment, a relationship, a milestone. As you sift through the memories, a poignant thought arises. What will people remember about me when I'm gone? Will my existence leave an imprint on the hearts of others, or will it fade into the fabric of time, unnoticed and unremarkable? This contemplation leads us into the profound dilemma of legacy, how it shapes our identity and choices while we are alive, and how, ultimately, it defines the echo of our existence after we are gone. The concept of legacy touches a fundamental human longing, the desire to be remembered. The philosopher Martin Heidegger emphasized that our understanding of existence is deeply intertwined with our anticipation of death. He posited that recognizing our mortality prompts us to live authentically and passionately, thereby shaping a meaningful legacy. Yet, this pursuit can manifest in divergent ways. Some might strive for grand achievements that secure their names in history, while others might find fulfillment in fleeting yet profound connections with loved ones, believing that lasting impact comes not from monuments, but from shared experiences. Contrast this with the existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre, who assert that existence precedes essence. For them, legacy is not a predetermined path, but a malleable construct shaped by individual choices. The essence of our legacy is created in the here and now, dictated by our actions and the authenticity of our being. Sartre challenges us to confront the weight of our freedom. The legacy we leave behind becomes a reflection of our decisions, both big and small, the kindness we show, the injustices we combat, the dreams we pursue. This understanding invites us to consider, does legacy arise from our intentions, or is it shaped more by how others perceive our actions? In today's world, the question of legacy carries a heavy significance, particularly within the context of social media and the digital footprint we leave behind. People curate their lives online, often creating idealized versions of themselves. But as we share snippets of our existence, we must ask ourselves, are we authentically contributing to a legacy, or merely crafting an illusion? The tension between our public persona and private selves speaks to the heart of our fear of being forgotten versus the desire for genuine remembrance. Modern ethical dilemmas further complicate this narrative. Consider the environmental legacy we are leaving for future generations. Philosophers like Peter Singer advocate for a more ethical approach to our existence, urging us to think about the broader implications of our lifestyle choices, not just for ourselves, but for those who will inhabit this earth after us. The actions we take today, addressing climate change, fighting for equality, are not just about our immediate satisfaction. They resonate beyond our lifetimes and forge a legacy that holds the potential to inspire change. Yet, legacy remains a deeply personal and often subjective journey. How do we balance these expansive concerns with our immediate relationships? The legacy we create through love, compassion, mentorship, and kindness may far outweigh any material achievements we pursue. Perhaps what we leave behind is not just a matter of historical record or impact, but the memories etched in the hearts of those we've touched. As we ponder the essence of legacy, we are left with more questions than answers. What does it mean to live a meaningful life? How much does the prospect of legacy shape our choices, for better or for worse? In a world ever focused on what we can achieve, perhaps the most profound truths lie in the simple acts of love and kindness we extend to one another. In this reflection, we are invited to consider, how will you shape your legacy today, and what will it say about the life you chose to live? The search for meaning, is it an endless journey? Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, intricate labyrinth. Each path you take leads you deeper into its winding corridors, filled with echoes of conversations, ideas, and dreams. You step forward, hoping to discover the secret at its center, the ultimate meaning of life. Yet, as you navigate the twists and turns, you begin to wonder, is the quest for meaning an end in itself, or is it an endless journey without resolution? The search for meaning is perhaps one of the most profound philosophical dilemmas we encounter. Thinkers like Viktor Frankl, author of Man's Search for Meaning, emphasize that our drive to find purpose can arise even in the most challenging circumstances. Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, argued that meaning is not something to be discovered, but rather a state of being that can be created in response to suffering. In this sense, the journey toward understanding ourselves and our place in the universe becomes a crucial part of the experience. Contrastingly, existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre would posit that life is inherently devoid of meaning. To Sartre, we are condemned to be free, experiencing a chaotic universe where our existence precedes essence. The responsibility falls upon us to fashion our purpose, leading to a perspective that can feel liberating yet daunting. The infinite possibilities we face can lead to existential dread. The weight of creating meaning can feel overwhelming, especially when society often pressures us to find definitive answers. In modern life, this search is particularly relevant as we navigate a world filled with distractions and superficial engagements. Social media bombards us with curated images and narratives, often leading to feelings of inadequacy when juxtaposed against idealized portrayals of purpose. While technology offers countless resources and tools for self-discovery, it paradoxically may also distance us from genuine introspection. Are we chasing external validations, or are we courageous enough to dive deep into our own inner landscapes? Some contemporary philosophers, such as Martha Nussbaum, invite us to explore the idea that meaning can be found through connections with others, through empathy and shared narratives. The bonds we form, the compassion we extend, can become the threads that weave together a broader fabric of purpose. Yet as we ponder this, a question emerges. If meaning is relational, what happens when those connections are disrupted or severed? Are we then left adrift in an unmoored existence? Life's unpredictability ensures that we must continually reassess what meaning represents at different stages. Those who have faced major transitions, whether through loss, failure, or significant personal achievements, understand how fluid our perceptions can be. Perhaps it is not the pursuit of a singular answer that matters, but the richness of our experiences along the way. As we reflect on this search for meaning, we find ourselves at the crossroads of wonder and uncertainty. Could it be that the true essence lies in the very act of searching? The questions we ask, the relationships we nurture, the growth we experience. We may never pinpoint a final answer, but perhaps the quest itself offers us depth and connection in an often chaotic world. So as we conclude this gentle exploration, let us remain open to the unfolding journey ahead. Within the labyrinthian paths of life, maybe the search for meaning is not a quest for a singular destination, but rather a continuous voyage that invites us to embrace the myriad possibilities of understanding, reflection, and existence itself. What will you discover when you step into your labyrinth? The concept of forgiveness, unpacking its power and pain. Imagine you are walking through a serene forest, the sunlight filtering through the leaves, dappling the ground before you. Suddenly, you stumble upon an old, weathered tree, scarred by deep cuts of a past storm. You begin to wonder, what if this tree could speak? Would it hold resentment against the winds that once battered it, or would it simply accept the scars as part of its journey? This thought brings us to a profound question about the nature of forgiveness. Is forgiveness a balm for the wounded soul, or is it a request to erase the past? Forgiveness occupies a unique place in human experience, an emotional state that can liberate or entrap. Philosophers like Soren Kierkegaard perceive forgiveness as essential to the human condition, a means to reconcile oneself with the inevitable pain of betrayal or loss. To Kierkegaard, forgiving is a leap of faith that defies reason, illustrating our capacity to rise above transient injuries in pursuit of deeper relationships. Yet, the act of forgiving can also lead to complex emotional struggles. It invites questions about justice and consequence. Are we obliged to forgive, and what does it say about us if we don't? In stark contrast, Friedrich Nietzsche proposed a more enigmatic view, asserting that forgiveness may dilute our strength, allowing others' wrongs to diminish our own identity. Nietzsche's idea challenges the notion of forgiveness as a simple moral virtue. Instead, he posits that it may be safer and more authentic to confront grievances head-on, holding offenders accountable rather than succumbing to the demands of compassion. Yet, does this uncompromising stance paradoxically imprison us in our grievances, preventing personal growth? As we weigh these philosophies against our daily lives, we can see how deeply relevant the concept of forgiveness remains. In a world strained by conflicts, personal relationships often reflect the tumult surrounding us. Whether it involves friends who have betrayed us or family members we feel alienated from, the call to forgive can often feel both liberating and overwhelmingly burdensome. The modern age bombards us with narratives of virtue entwined with forgiveness, often suggesting that those who forgive are morally superior. But the struggle can become a battleground of emotions, where our hearts long for reconciliation, while our minds grapple with an unresolved desire for justice. In therapeutic settings, the act of forgiving has shown remarkable restorative effects on mental well-being. Studies reveal that those who embrace forgiveness often find themselves freeing emotional burdens, shifting from victimhood to empowerment. Yet, such perspectives may imply that forgiveness is a linear process, an idea contested by the experiences of many. Some find that forgiveness is not a definitive endpoint, but a series of tumultuous waves that can recede and return, echoing the cycles of healing. Ultimately, the dilemma of forgiveness invites us into a space of introspection. Is it merely a release from past grievances, or does it demand a deeper personal transformation? Can we forgive without forgetting, or is true forgiveness contingent upon erasing the impact of the wrong? Perhaps the most profound realization lies in our acceptance of forgiveness as an imperfect yet enduring part of our humanity. The complexity of this concept urges us to navigate the intertwining paths of hurt and healing, compelling us to question where we stand amidst the gentle scars of our own journeys. So as we ponder upon the tree's weathered trunk, we remain open to the whispers of forgiveness, ever searching for the balance between acceptance and accountability in our lives. The intersection of technology and humanity. Are we becoming less human? Imagine a future where you wake up to a world bustling with technology. Your coffee machine brews your favorite blend, personal assistant devices anticipate your needs, and self-driving cars navigate the streets with ease. There's an undeniable convenience in this world. Yet as you sip your coffee, an unsettling thought lingers. Are we becoming less human in the face of advancing technology? This question lies at the heart of a profound philosophical dilemma, the intersection of technology and humanity. Are we enhancing what it means to be human, or are we diminishing essential aspects of our existence? As we integrate technology into our daily lives, the rich tapestry of human experience is both enriched and challenged. Historically, philosophers like Martin Heidegger have warned of the dangers of technology. He posited that as we become increasingly engulfed in technological frameworks, we risk losing our connection to our authentic selves and the world around us. For Heidegger, technology is not just a tool. It shapes our perception, potentially alienating us from deeper human experiences like nature, community, and meaning. On the other hand, proponents of technological advancement, such as John Stuart Mill, argue that progress, especially when it enhances communication and learning, expands our capacities as individuals and societies. Mill's utilitarian perspective suggests that if technology leads to greater happiness and satisfaction, it is inherently valuable. In this light, technology can be seen as a vehicle for personal growth and societal development, pushing the boundaries of human potential. Yet, as we navigate our screens, we must grapple with the emotional and social implications of this technological era. In a connected world, we sometimes find ourselves more isolated than ever. Social media platforms designed to bring us together often induce anxiety, dissatisfaction, and a profound sense of loneliness. Philosopher Byung-Chul Han critiques this phenomenon, suggesting that in our hyper-communicative society, we lose the ability to engage in genuine relationships and authentic encounters. Moreover, the increasing reliance on artificial intelligence presents another layer of complexity. As machines learn to perform tasks traditionally reserved for humans, we may find ourselves questioning not just our skills, but our very consciousness. If decisions can be made algorithmically and emotions are simulated, can we still assert what it means to feel or to think? The renowned philosopher Nick Bostrom raises concerns about losing our essential nature if we defer too heavily to intelligent machines. He prompts us to consider whether our identity is anchored in human experience or if it can be supplanted by artificial creation. In our everyday lives, these considerations hold immense relevance. From the way we interact with one another to how we understand ourselves, technology infiltrates our identities. Are we uploading our consciousness into the digital realm? Are we losing touch with spontaneous moments, replaced by scheduled interactions with screens? As we draw this reflective journey to a close, the question remains open. Is technology refining our humanity or eroding it? Perhaps the path forward lies not in opposition, but in a delicate balance, a synthesis of embracing technological advancements while nurturing the fundamental aspects of human connection, empathy, and contemplation. It invites us to explore the depth of our existence amid a world transforming at breakneck speed. The answer, it seems, is a journey we must each undertake, pondering the essence of humanity in an age that constantly reshapes it. How does nature heal us? Exploring connection and wellness. Imagine you find yourself wandering through a sun-dappled forest, the leaves whispering secrets as a gentle breeze caresses your skin. You pause to breathe in the earthy scent of damp soil and pine. In this retreat from the chaos of daily life, a sense of peace envelops you, as if the very essence of the natural world is weaving a balm around your worries. Here lies a question that has echoed through ages. How does nature heal us? Can the tranquility we find in nature serve as a remedy for the disquiet of our minds and souls? Philosophically speaking, the connection between nature and human wellness has been explored by thinkers from Aristotle to modern environmental philosophers. Aristotle linked nature to human flourishing, suggesting that our well-being is deeply rooted in the natural world. He perceived nature as a harmonious order, and to live in alignment with it is to pursue eudaimonia, or a fulfilling life. Nature, in this view, is not just a backdrop for human existence, but an essential component of our moral and physical development. Contrasting this perspective is the dualistic view represented by Descartes, who emphasized the separation between mind and body. This separation might lead one to think of nature as merely a resource for our utilitarian functions, thereby diminishing the idea that nature itself can offer therapeutic benefits. In a modern context, this detachment has permeated our lives, where urbanization and technology often displace the natural landscapes that once grounded us. Yet contemporary research in fields like ecotherapy and biophilia demonstrates a reawakening to the healing properties of nature. Studies reveal that exposure to natural environments can reduce stress, enhance mood, and improve cognitive function. The biophilia hypothesis, popularized by Edward O. Wilson, suggests that humans have an innate affinity for nature. The simple act of walking in a park, feeling the sun on our face, or listening to birdsong has been shown to lower cortisol levels and foster a deep-seated sense of well-being. However, the relationship between nature and healing invites us to consider deeper philosophical dilemmas around our place in the world. If nature can indeed heal, what does that imply about our disconnection from it? Is our alienation from the natural world a source of our collective anxiety? Might our perpetual chase for technological advancement cause us to overlook the simple, profound connections that exist outside our doors? Furthermore, thinkers like Martin Heidegger remind us of our essential being in the world, urging us to reflect on our relationship with our environment. According to Heidegger, our identity is interwoven with the earth around us. The more we turn away from nature, the more we risk losing a part of ourselves. In light of this, one must ponder, Could reclaiming a connection to nature not only alleviate personal suffering, but also contribute to broader societal healing? As you continue to ponder this idea, consider how moments spent in nature resonate within you. How do they filter through your consciousness, shaping your emotions and thoughts? The question remains open-ended. Is the healing power of nature merely a psychological illusion, or does it possess a deeper, ontological significance that calls us back to our roots? As you reflect, perhaps you'll find a path toward understanding not only how nature heals us, but how we, in turn, must learn to nurture our relationship with the world around us. The influence of music. How do sounds shape our memories? Imagine walking down a quiet street when a familiar melody drifts through the air. As the notes reach your ears, you find yourself transported back to a moment long forgotten, a cherished summer evening, laughter shared with friends, or perhaps a bittersweet goodbye. Music has an uncanny ability to weave through the fabric of our lives, entwining itself with our memories and emotions. But this raises a profound philosophical question. How do sounds shape our memories, and what implications does that hold for our understanding of identity and experience? Philosophers have long pondered the relationship between memory, emotion, and identity. Consider the existentialist views of Jean-Paul Sartre, who proposed that our essence is shaped by our experiences and choices. In this framework, music acts as a catalyst, igniting recollections that define who we are. It serves as a mirror reflecting our past selves, revealing both the joys and sorrows that contribute to our current identity. When we hear a particular song, it can evoke the very essence of the person we were then, perhaps opening doors to emotions that had lain dormant. On the other hand, the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche offered a more complex perspective. He insisted that our memories are not merely passive recordings of the past, but are actively constructed and influenced by our present context. This idea raises an intriguing question. Does music merely evoke memories, or does it reshape them? When we revisit a song connected to a painful experience, does the music alter our recollection, transforming sorrow into nostalgia? Thus, while music has the power to trigger memories, it is also a creative force that can redefine our emotional landscape. In contemporary life, we see the resonance of this philosophical discourse on memory and music. With music streaming services and curated playlists at our fingertips, we navigate our pasts with sound as our guide. There's a growing awareness of music's therapeutic potential, particularly in dementia care. The reminiscence therapy approach encourages patients to listen to familiar songs, often sparking memories that words alone cannot reach. As neuroscientist Oliver Sacks noted, music has the capacity to unlock forgotten memories, demonstrating how deeply intertwined our auditory experiences are with our identities. However, this phenomenon also poses dilemmas. If our memories are influenced by the sounds we hear, can we trust their authenticity? When a song distorts our recollection, shaping our understanding of past events, who are we really? This echoes the theory of narrative identity advanced by philosophers like Paul Ricoeur, who suggests we construct our identities through storytelling, blurring the line between what is real and what is reconstructed. Music, thus, plays a pivotal role in this ongoing narrative, enriching our life stories while questioning the essence of truth within our memories. As you reflect on the melodies of your life, consider this. How does music influence not just your recollections, but the very foundation of who you are? Is it merely a backdrop to your experiences, or does it cultivate and reshape your memories over time? In this interplay of sound and memory, we find a delicate dance between emotion and identity, evoking questions that linger far beyond a single listening experience. As the final notes fade into silence, the journey continues, inviting us to explore the profound connection between the music we cherish and the stories we tell ourselves. The science of laughter. Why is it such a powerful medicine? Imagine a moment when the weight of the world feels too heavy to bear, a lingering sadness or anxiety that seems insurmountable. Then, breaking through the murk, you hear laughter, a child's giggle, a friend's infectious chuckle, or the jovial undertones of a timeless comedy. Suddenly, warmth spreads through your chest, the corners of your mouth lift, and for that fleeting moment, all seems right with the world. Why does laughter possess such an uncanny ability to heal? Laughter is often celebrated as the best medicine, a simplistic dichotomy underpinned by complex philosophical, psychological, and physiological threads. The philosopher Henry Bergson suggested that laughter releases tensions, and through this release, fosters social bonds. Yet what underlies our instinctive response to humor? Is it merely an evolutionary mechanism, a means of fostering social cohesion, or does it tap deeper, perhaps existential aspects of the human experience? Several philosophical perspectives present contrasting interpretations. For Aristotle, humor reveals the imperfections of ourselves and others, a reflection that invokes a measured response. Mirth arises from recognizing and navigating our shortcomings. Conversely, Friedrich Nietzsche saw laughter as a powerful affirmation of life, a defiance against suffering and absurdity, a mechanism through which we transform pain into joy. By laughing at circumstances, we reclaim agency over our experiences, thereby reshaping their meaning. In modern times, the relevance of laughter extends beyond mere amusement. It has practical applications in health and well-being. Research suggests that laughter can reduce stress, enhance immune function, and even alleviate pain. The physiological release of endorphins during laughter taps into our brain's reward system, aligning with Bergson's notion of laughter as a form of social bond that not only connects us, but provides emotional resilience. However, consider the paradox presented by the darker aspects of laughter, the schadenfreude we feel when we jest at the expense of others, or the discomfort behind laughter in the face of tragedy. Is every laugh a step toward connection, or could it sometimes reflect the shadow of human fragility? Immanuel Kant argued that laughter often arises when we recognize an incongruity between reality and expectations. Here lies a philosophical dilemma. Does laughter reinforce societal norms, or can it challenge the status quo? In today's fragmented world, how we interpret and use laughter becomes a vital question. Comic relief appears in the weightiest of conversations, political satire or comedic responses to social issues. These moments can encourage critical dialogue, inviting us to confront discomfort with a lighter heart. But does this mean that every laugh serves a constructive purpose? Perhaps not. Laughter's divisive nature may breed insensitivity, isolating individuals rather than uplifting them. As you reflect on the science and philosophy of laughter, the question remains: what role does it fulfill in your life? Does it forge connections, foster resilience, or perhaps shield you from deeper truths? Life is replete with challenges and contradictions, and laughter lingers uniquely at the intersection of joy and sorrow. So as you move through your day, take a moment to consider not just why we laugh, but what it teaches us about our shared humanity. In this continued exploration, you may find that laughter is not just a medicine, but a mirror reflecting our deepest fears, joys, and the complexity of existence itself. Light and shadow, what do they teach us about balance? Imagine standing at the edge of a serene forest, sunlight filtering through the leaves, casting delicate patterns on the forest floor. In one direction lies the sun-drenched meadow, vibrant and alive, filled with the buzzing of bees and the laughter of children. The other direction leads into a shadowy grove, cool and quiet, where the soft rustle of leaves whispers secrets of the earth. This juxtaposition invites us to ponder: how do light and shadow define our understanding of balance in life? At first glance, light and shadow may seem to represent clarity and confusion, joy and sorrow. Yet philosophers through the ages have sought to understand these contrasts as essential components of the human experience. Think of Plato's allegory of the cave, where prisoners are bound in darkness, only able to see shadows cast by a fire, mistaking them for reality. For Plato, enlightenment, the journey into the light, is a metaphor for a deeper understanding of truth and existence. Without shadows, there would be no light. They coexist, each defining the other, teaching us the value of perception and perspective. Contrast this with the dualistic philosophy of Friedrich Nietzsche, who presents a more complex relationship between light and shadow. In his concept of the will to power, Nietzsche argues that embracing one's darker impulses can lead to personal growth and self-realization. The shadows represent not just fear or despair, but also the raw material for strength and creativity. Without acknowledging our shadows, we may live in denial, disconnected from the full spectrum of our humanity. In this sense, darkness offers a kind of truth, a necessary counterbalance to our aspirations and ideals. As we navigate our modern lives, this philosophical tension finds its echo in our personal experiences. Consider the daily balance between stress and serenity. In the hustle of work, light may represent productivity and achievement, while shadow whispers of burnout and emotional fatigue. Society often glorifies the relentless pursuit of success, equating it to happiness, much like the bright sunlit meadow. Yet, the experiences of grief, loss, or even moments of solitude can cultivate resilience and deeper connections to our own selves. The shadow, in this case, becomes a significant guide, urging us to pause, reflect, and restore. In relationships, light and shadow shape the interplay of joy and conflict. The philosopher Simone de Beauvoir spoke extensively about the complexities of human relationships, emphasizing that true connection arises not from the avoidance of conflict, but through a shared understanding of vulnerabilities. Shadows manifest as fears, insecurities, and misunderstandings, elements that, when many try to avoid, inevitably cloud the light of intimacy and trust. Embracing both light and shadow might foster deeper connections by allowing us to be authentic and vulnerable. Yet the lessons of light and shadow extend into the broader societal context. In a world often characterized by division, these dualities prompt us to recognize that differing perspectives can coexist. Light reveals our shared humanity, our capacity for kindness and cooperation, while shadow may remind us of biases, prejudices, and discord. Perhaps, as we grapple with social issues such as inequality or injustice, we must confront the shadows of our society, understanding that true progress lies in integration, not isolation. As you ponder these reflections, ask yourself, how do light and shadow interplay in your own life? In what ways can embracing both create a harmonious balance? The exploration of this duality invites you to delve deeper into your own experiences, recognizing that without shadows, the light would lose its depth. In this understanding, may you find a path towards a more profound appreciation of life, a journey continuously shaped by the dance of light and shadow. The mystery of intuition, is it a gut feeling or something more? Imagine standing at a crossroads, torn between two life-altering decisions. One path leads to stability and familiarity, while the other beckons with promise and uncertainty. Suddenly, a feeling washes over you, a whisper of instinct urging you toward one direction over the other. Is this feeling mere instinct, a product of subconscious reasoning, or something more profound, an insight that transcends rational thought? This mystery of intuition invites us to explore the nature of knowledge and how we make decisions. On one hand, intuition is often dismissed as a whimsical gut feeling, arising from accumulated experiences, a silent cocktail of past encounters and learned behavior. Behavioral psychologists like Daniel Kahneman argue that intuition can be a kind of mental shortcut, a heuristic that helps us navigate the complexities of life without deliberate reasoning. Yet, can we fully trust this impulsive compass? Philosophers like Immanuel Kant offer a contrasting perspective, suggesting that intuition may indeed hold deeper significance. Kant proposed that certain intuitions serve as a form of knowledge rooted in our very nature as rational beings. He believed that while empirical knowledge is derived from experience, intuition shapes our understanding of space, time, and even morality. In this sense, intuition becomes a bridge between the sensory world and a more profound epistemic insight. Fast forward to our modern lives. How many decisions do we face daily that seem too complex for logical analysis? Picture a lawyer relying on intuition to assess the credibility of a witness, or a seasoned chef trusting their instinct to balance flavors in a dish. In these scenarios, intuition acts not simply as a fallback, but as an active participant in the decision-making process, potentially leading to outcomes as reliable as those derived from rational deliberation. Yet, intuition's reliability is not uniformly celebrated. Critics, such as philosopher Paul Thagard, posit that intuition can be influenced by biases, making it a flawed guide at times. We are not always aware of the cognitive shortcuts our minds take, and these can lead us astray, reinforcing stereotypes or conforming to societal norms. This raises questions about the ivory tower of objectivity in human experience. Moreover, consider the profound implications this has on fields like ethics. When faced with moral dilemmas, many of us rely on our gut feelings to navigate right from wrong. But if our intuitions are shaped by culture, upbringing, or even transient emotions, can we trust them to guide us toward ethical decisions? The works of moral philosophers such as John Stuart Mill and Friedrich Nietzsche challenge us to scrutinize the foundation of these intuitive responses. For Mill, a consequentialist view posits that the morality of an action should be measured by its consequences, prompting a quest for rationality over impulse. Nietzsche, on the other hand, embraces the instinctive drives as intrinsic to human nature, contending that they can illuminate aspects of morality obscured by conventional reasoning. As we ponder the role of intuition in our lives, a question lingers. Is intuition an innate ability, a learned response, or perhaps a blend of both? Even as we seek answers, we must acknowledge the nuanced interplay between emotion, reason, and experience. Intuition may both illuminate and obscure, guiding us toward understanding while inviting deeper exploration of our own thoughts and feelings. Ultimately, the mystery of intuition remains a wellspring for reflection. Each decision we make, influenced by that whisper of instinct, beckons us to consider the delicate balance between heart and mind. As we navigate our unique paths, may we cultivate an awareness that allows us to embrace both the power and the mystery behind our intuitive selves, inviting further contemplation of the intricacies that define our human experience. Perception of beauty, is it universal or subjective? Imagine walking through an art gallery surrounded by paintings that evoke intense emotions. One piece, with its swirling colors and chaotic brushstrokes, captivates you. Nearby, another, characterized by serene landscapes and gentle hues, elicits a sense of peace. You notice a fellow visitor enchanted by the very pieces that leave you cold. This scene invites us to ponder a profound question. Is beauty intrinsically universal, or is it a subjective perception shaped by individual experiences? Throughout history, thinkers have grappled with the nature of beauty. Plato famously argued that beauty is a transcendent ideal, an immutable form that exists independently of human perception. In the realm of his philosophy, true beauty transcends the physical world and is perceived through reason and intellect. For Plato, beauty is universal, capable of moving every soul toward a higher understanding. However, this notion presents a paradox. If beauty is a fixed ideal, how do we account for the vast diversity in what people find beautiful? Contrastingly, the philosopher David Hume posited that beauty lies in the eye of the beholder. He argued that our perceptions of beauty arise from our personal experiences, cultural backgrounds, and emotional states. Hume's perspective encourages us to see beauty not as an absolute quality, but as a complex interplay of subjective responses. For him, the intricacies of individual taste underscore the rich tapestry of human experience. In this way, beauty becomes deeply personal, a reflection of one's unique journey through life. Take a moment to consider how this philosophical dilemma plays out in our modern world. Social media platforms continuously bombard us with images that shape our perceptions of beauty, perfectly curated lifestyles, beautiful faces, and mesmerizing travel destinations. Different cultures celebrate distinct forms of beauty, from the ornate designs of Japanese kintsugi to the minimalist elegance of Scandinavian design. As we scroll through feeds filled with diverse representations, we are prompted to reflect. Is our perception of beauty genuinely ours, or is it influenced by external standards? Moreover, the evolving concept of beauty has implications beyond the aesthetic. In a world that often equates beauty with worth, we may find ourselves grappling with self-esteem issues shaped by societal ideals. During moments of comparison, one might question their own beauty, overshadowing the essence of individuality. Here, the clash between universal ideals and subjective perceptions becomes particularly poignant. We must ask ourselves, is our idea of beauty a reflection of who we are, or merely an echo of societal expectations? As we tread this contemplative path, we encounter a nagging uncertainty that invites deeper reflection. If beauty is indeed subjective, what happens when our tastes clash with others? Can we appreciate beauty in forms we initially resist or do not understand? On the other hand, if beauty is universal, how do we reconcile stark differences in perception across cultures and generations? Ultimately, the question of whether beauty is universal or subjective leads us into a space of continuous inquiry, inviting us to embrace our differences while recognizing our shared humanity. Perhaps beauty lies not in finding a definitive answer, but in the rich dialogue it inspires, in the shimmering complexity of our perceptions, and in the profound connections we form as we explore this awe-inspiring aspect of existence. What does beauty mean to you? The journey into that question can be as beautiful as the answers we seek. The role of play. How does it foster creativity and connection? Imagine a world where every interaction is dictated by purpose, a place where spontaneity is replaced by structured agendas, where laughter and lightheartedness are distant memories. In this world, the joy of play, that dance of imagination and connection, is virtually absent. Yet, what if we were to ask, how crucial is play in shaping our creativity and our connections with one another? The philosophical significance of play invites deep contemplation. Philosopher Friedrich Schiller suggested that play is fundamental to human nature, arguing that it transcends mere entertainment. It cultivates our sense of freedom, allowing our true selves to emerge unhindered by societal constraints. The philosopher Johann Huizinga, in his seminal work Homo Ludens, posits that play is not just a necessary aspect of life, but the very foundation of culture itself. Through play, we create worlds where the ordinary is transformed, where imagination flourishes, and where connections deepen. Consider how children engage in imaginary games. They invent scenarios that push the boundaries of reality. In these moments of play, they explore roles, forge friendships, and express their innermost thoughts and feelings. Yet as we grow, that unrestrained play often gives way to more serious pursuits. Our structured lives, filled with responsibilities, can strip away the freedom found in play. We may begin to associate adulthood with obligation rather than creativity. Yet this poses a question. Does maturity necessitate a decline in the playfulness that fosters innovation and empathy? From the perspective of existentialist thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre, play serves as a vital expression of the human condition. It allows us to confront our freedom and the inherent absurdity of life. Engaging in play, we harness our agency, transforming moments of joy into profound reflections on existence. Yet, as we navigate adulthood, we often internalize a conflict. To be seen as productive, we must abandon our playful instincts. This tension brings to light a crucial question. Can we afford to overlook the importance of play if it nurtures our creative capacities and ability to connect with others? In modern society, the significance of play is evident in countless realms. In the workplace, organizations increasingly recognize that fostering a playful culture can unlock creativity and bring teams closer together. Workshops often include elements of gamification, turning tedious tasks into engaging challenges that inspire collaboration. This practical application mirrors the philosophical perspective that play enhances problem-solving, enabling innovation to blossom from unexpected ideas and perspectives. Yet, there remains an underlying irony. In our quest for productivity, we often treat play as a luxury, a fleeting distraction rather than a necessity. This prompts us to ponder further. By prioritizing efficiency over playfulness, what valuable aspects of our humanity might we forfeit? Does an adult's orientation towards serious matters inhibit their capacity for creativity and meaningful relationships? As we reflect on the role of play, we might find ourselves at a crossroads between the structured demands of daily life and the rich tapestry of imaginative possibilities. The journey of reclaiming playfulness may lead to greater creativity and connection, inviting us to question our definitions of success and fulfillment. How might embracing play enhance our experiences of empathy and innovation? In what ways could our world transform if we allow ourselves the freedom to play, even as adults? In the silence of these questions lies a gentle nudge toward self-exploration, an invitation to reconnect with that instinctive joy that arguably makes us more fully human. Let us carry this contemplation into our lives, nurturing the playful spirit that inspires both creativity and connection. The concept of time, is it an illusion we create? Imagine standing on a serene beach, the rhythmic sound of waves gently lapping at the shore. The sun begins its slow descent, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. Time in this moment seems palpable. Each tick of the clock echoes both the beauty and the impermanence of life. Yet as you breathe in the salty air, a question arises. Is time merely an illusion we create, or is it a fundamental aspect of reality? This inquiry into the nature of time has fascinated philosophers throughout history. For many, time is not just a linear progression of moments, but a construct shaped by human perception. Thinkers such as Henri Bergson argued for the difference between measured time, the quantifiable, objective time of clocks, and lived time, which is subjective and fluid, embedded in our experiences. The beauty of a sunset, the joy of laughter, or the ache of loss cannot be captured by the ticking of seconds. They evoke a deeper, more profound understanding of time. In contrast, Isaac Newton envisioned time as an absolute entity, flowing uniformly everywhere, independent of human perception. He likened it to a river relentlessly moving forward, carrying everything along its current. This perspective dominates our scientific understanding, allowing us to measure and predict, to organize our lives with calendars and clocks. Yet modern physics, particularly with Einstein's theory of relativity, challenges this notion. It suggests that time is not a constant. It warps and bends based on speed and gravity, intertwining with the fabric of space. Here we encounter a disorienting reality. Time is not the unchanging backdrop we once believed it to be. In contemporary discussions, the philosopher Julian Barber proposes that time might only exist through change. He argues that without events, there is no time. It relies on moments, what he calls nows. This leads to a fascinating philosophical implication. If our lives are a series of isolated nows, could it be that past and future are mere constructs, concocted to give us a sense of continuity? This idea evokes a sense of liberation, suggesting that the burdens of the past and the anxieties of the future are possibly illusions we create to navigate our existence. Modern life amplifies this inquiry. In our fast-paced, goal-oriented world, we often find ourselves racing against time, measuring success by deadlines and schedules. Yet in moments of stillness, such as during quiet reflection on the beach, we sense an alternate reality where time stretches, allowing us to simply be. This brings forth an essential question. How do our perceptions of time influence our experiences and decisions? If time is indeed a construct, how might it color our understanding of aging, memory, and relationships? Reflecting on these ideas opens up avenues of contemplation. Could embracing the idea of time as an illusion allow us to live more fully in the present? What might we gain by viewing our lives not as a race towards future milestones, but as a series of cherished moments? As you close your eyes and listen to the waves, consider this. If time is not the unwavering force we often believe it to be, how might that reshape your understanding of existence? The journey towards grasping the nature of time may never yield a definitive answer, but it invites us to contemplate the very essence of our being and experience. Perhaps, in the end, the pursuit of understanding time is less about arriving at conclusions and more about embracing the inherent mystery of life itself. Exploring the unknown, how does curiosity drive us forward? Imagine standing at the edge of a vast dark forest. Beyond its shadowy trees lies an uncharted world, full of hidden wonders as well as potential dangers. What pulls you forward into that unknown? Is it fear, excitement, or something more profound? Perhaps it is curiosity, a driving force that has propelled humanity through its greatest discoveries and darkest dilemmas. But what is curiosity really? And how does it shape our journey through life? Curiosity is often regarded as a quintessential human trait, a spark that ignites our passion for exploration and understanding. This desire to know and experience more lies at the heart of philosophical inquiry, as well as scientific advancement. Thinkers like Socrates recognized the importance of questioning the known as a pathway to wisdom, famously stating that the unexamined life is not worth living. Through the act of questioning, we engage with the world around us and, in many ways, define what it means to be human. Yet, while curiosity can lead to enlightenment, it may also usher in uncertainty and anxiety. Existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre and Martin Heidegger examined how confronting the unknown can induce feelings of dread. They propose that embracing this discomfort can actually enhance our authenticity. Curiosity, in this sense, may not only propel us toward understanding, but also compel us to confront our own existence and the choices we make or fail to make. Consider the modern implications of our insatiable curiosity. In a world rife with information, the pursuit of knowledge is unceasing. We seek answers to age-old questions. What is consciousness? Do we possess free will? How should we live? Each inquiry opens new corridors of thought, yet it also yields a precarious balance between insight and overwhelm. Philosopher Alain de Botton reminds us that curiosity risks leading us into a labyrinth of confusion, what he terms the paradox of choice. Endless options can leave us feeling unanchored, prompting one to wonder if the quest for knowledge brings clarity or chaos. In our age of technology, curiosity manifests in remarkable ways. The internet functions as both a treasure trove of knowledge and a source of conflicting information. Think of how easily we can plunge into the depths of learning, from exploring the cosmos to grasping the intricacies of the human mind. Yet, this accessibility can conflate our knowledge with certainty, as we often confuse surface-level understanding with true comprehension. Philosophers such as Susan Sontag have argued that the ease of acquiring information does not necessarily translate to wisdom. As we venture into the unknown, we must remain mindful of this distinction. Curiosity also fosters connection, as it often compels us to reach out to others. The desire to understand different perspectives and experiences enriches our lives, creating bonds and fostering empathy. This aspect is particularly relevant in our current polarized world, where curiosity could serve as a bridge across ideological divides. Engaging with those who challenge our views can not only expand our horizons, but can also cultivate resilience and adaptability. As we contemplate the role of curiosity in driving us forward, we are left with a sense of wonder about its multifaceted nature. Are we guided by a longing for knowledge, or is the pursuit itself the journey that shapes our existence? The questions we raise and the unknown we confront both illuminate and mystify our path. Perhaps the essence of curiosity lies not in finding definitive answers, but in the endless unfolding of inquiry, a journey laden with both fear and hope, insight and confusion. As you step out of your comfort zone and delve into the mysteries around you, what will your curiosity unveil? The shadow self. What parts of us do we hide and why? Imagine standing in front of a mirror, not just reflecting your physical form, but also the intricacies of your inner life. What if, instead of revealing the whole of you, the mirror only showed a curated version, one that left out those parts deemed unworthy or undesirable? What lies behind that polished surface, lingering in the shadow, just out of sight? This scenario invites us to examine a profound aspect of the human experience, the shadow self, the parts of ourselves we choose to conceal from the world and often from ourselves. The concept of the shadow self finds fertile ground in the work of psychologist Carl Jung, who posited that this shadow encompasses all that we repress, whether it be emotions, desires, or traits we misconstrue as shameful. According to Jung, acknowledging our shadow leads to greater self-awareness and authenticity. However, the journey of confronting this hidden self can be fraught with discomfort and fear. If we acknowledge our darker impulses, anger, jealousy, or insecurity, do we risk losing our sense of self, our moral compass? Are we not, perhaps, defined by the very traits we choose to suppress? Philosophers like Friedrich Nietzsche explored similar themes, emphasizing the necessity of embracing our whole selves, including the shadow, to achieve personal growth and self-actualization. Nietzsche challenged us to abandon simplistic notions of good and evil, suggesting that a life without acknowledging our inner shadows leaves us unprepared for the complexities of existence. By fully embracing our nature, flaws and all, we become more resilient and open to life's rich experiences. Yet, we often retreat into the comfort of pretense. Society frequently dictates which traits are acceptable and which must be cloaked in darkness. This has modern-day relevance, particularly in an age dominated by social media. We curate our lives, posting only the highlights while burying moments of vulnerability. How many of us present an idealized version of ourselves, hiding insecurities behind filters or clever captions? The need for acceptance and affirmation can compel us to suppress our authentic selves, even burying those characteristics that make us whole. But what happens when these hidden aspects seep into our conscious lives? The shadow can manifest in unexpected ways, possibly leading to destructive behaviors or projecting our unacknowledged traits onto others. When we refuse to confront our shadow, we may find ourselves engaging in the very behaviors we revile in others. The famous philosopher Soren Kierkegaard spoke of despair arising not from the absence of personal authenticity, but from the mask we wear to navigate societal expectations. Engaging with our shadow offers a pathway to deeper introspection. It demands that we ask ourselves difficult questions. What parts of myself do I deem unworthy? Why do I feel the need to hide these aspects? Might there be beauty in my vulnerabilities and strength in acknowledging my flaws? Understanding the shadow self isn't about moral absolution, but rather a means to engage in a fuller, more nuanced experience of being human. As you ponder these questions, consider how the journey into the shadow is as personal as it is universal. What resides in your shadows, awaiting acknowledgement? The exploration need not lead to definitive answers, but rather evokes a continuous dialogue with self and society. After all, in the delicate balance of light and darkness, our true selves await. Perhaps, in embracing the entirety of our beings, we can find a richer canvas to paint the complex narrative of our lives. Emotional resilience. How do we bounce back from setbacks? Imagine a skilled tightrope walker, gracefully gliding across a thin wire high above the ground. With every step, there is a moment of tension, a heart-stopping uncertainty. Suddenly, a misstep occurs, and the performer falls. In that moment, a question reverberates. How does one regain the courage to step onto the wire again? This scenario opens up a profound philosophical exploration of emotional resilience, the human capacity to bounce back from life's inevitable setbacks. Emotional resilience is not merely about enduring hardship. It encompasses the process of recovery and transformation. Consider the notion of Nietzsche's philosophy of eternal recurrence, where one is challenged to live life as if they would have to repeat it endlessly. In his view, embracing one's sufferings can lead to a fuller existence. Here, setbacks are reimagined as essential components of a life well lived, inviting us to reflect on our responses and growth in the face of adversity. Yet contrasting perspectives emerge when we consider the teachings of Stoicism, the philosophy rooted in ancient Greece that invites acceptance of what we cannot control. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic, posits that while we may experience external misfortunes, our internal state remains under our command. Thus, emotional resilience might hinge upon the ability to differentiate between what we can alter and what we must accept. This perspective encourages a calm disposition, suggesting that it is not the setback itself, but our reaction that shapes our emotional state. In today's fast-paced world, the relevance of these thoughts becomes clear as we navigate an array of personal setbacks, failed relationships, career disappointments, or unexpected health issues. The American psychologist Martin Seligman's work on learned helplessness further illustrates the struggle, demonstrating how repeated setbacks can lead to a belief that one is incapable of change. The modern interpretation of resilience emphasizes not only recovery, but also adaptability. How can one cultivate the strength to not only withstand adversity, but to emerge from it with greater insight? For many, building resilience involves community and connection. Through shared experiences, individuals can learn that they are not alone in their struggles. As Brené Brown emphasizes in her exploration of vulnerability, the courage to connect with others helps us confront our fears and find strength in our stories. This blend of philosophical traditions urges us to seek support, understand our emotions, and face challenges with authenticity. Still, the journey of resilience is hardly linear. Like a tightrope walker, one might fear the fall after experiencing a significant setback. Can we embrace failure, knowing that it may unfurl new possibilities? The existentialist philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre suggested that we are condemned to be free, burdened yet empowered by our choices. Each setback can be viewed as a blank canvas, a chance to redefine our path. As we ponder these thoughts, we are faced with a lingering question. Is resilience something we cultivate, or is it an innate quality? While paths differ, perhaps what binds us is our collective capacity to reflect on our experiences, learn from them, and embrace uncertainty. In a world filled with unpredictability, the art of bounces back becomes a journey, one that invites exploration of not just resilience, but also vulnerability, growth, and the ultimate acceptance of our shared humanity. As we continue our introspective voyage, let us consider, how will you weave your experiences into the tapestry of your life? And what insights will you carry forward from the falls? The stories we tell ourselves. How do narratives shape identity? Imagine you are wandering through a vast library, each book filled with the stories that have shaped your life. Some tales are vivid and rich, while others may be mere footnotes, faded hints of experiences long past. You reach for a particular volume, its spine crackling with age, and begin to read a story about a time you had to grapple with a significant choice. This moment, like many others, has helped carve out the person you are today. But as you ponder this narrative, you can't help but wonder, how do the stories we tell ourselves shape our identities? At the heart of this inquiry lies a profound philosophical issue, the interplay between narrative and selfhood. Several thinkers have reflected on this relationship. The German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche famously proposed that there are no facts, only interpretations. He believed that individuals craft their identities through the narratives they endorse and share. If our understanding of self is fluid, shaped by the stories we choose to tell, does that mean we have the power to rewrite our own lives, to reinterpret who we are? Conversely, consider the perspective of existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre. Sartre asserted that existence precedes essence. In other words, we are born without predefined identities and must create ourselves through choices and actions. While this theory embraces the autonomy of the individual, it can also appear daunting, freeing us to explore our potential, but also leaving the weight of self-definition upon our shoulders. In today's world, the influence of narrative can be seen in the myriad ways we curate our identities through social media and public expressions. Platforms allow us to compose our own stories, projecting curated versions of ourselves into the communal space of the digital sphere. But do these narratives provide authenticity, or do they mask our true selves behind crafted personas? In a culture that thrives on storytelling, we might blend the lines between who we genuinely are and who we portray ourselves to be. The philosopher Judith Butler argues that identity is performative. It is constructed through repeated actions and expressions. This view suggests that our identities are not static but fluid and shaped by the narratives surrounding us, cultural stories, societal expectations, and our own personal experiences. Yet, does this fluidity offer liberation, or does it instill a fear of dispossession? If our identity is an accumulation of stories, what happens to one's sense of self when these narratives change? It is also vital to recognize the darker implications of the stories we embrace. Many carry narratives of trauma, pain, or loss that undeniably shape their identities. The philosopher Michel Foucault cautioned against the power of societal narratives that can impose identity upon individuals, constraining them within defined roles. How can we distinguish between the narratives that liberate us and those that confine us? Can a re-examination of our personal stories enable healing, allowing us to break free from identities shaped by external expectations? As you close the dusty book from your library, consider this. Your identity is a tapestry woven from countless narratives, threads of experience and choice that you alone can influence. Each day's unfolding is yet another page lying open before you, inviting you to reflect. What stories will you choose to tell about yourself today? How will they shape your journey forward? The exploration of these questions, much like a river, flows endlessly, inviting you to delve deeper into the narratives that define your existence, while always leaving room for new tales to be woven. Nature of belief. How do our convictions shape reality? Imagine you wake up one morning in a world where everything you believed to be true has suddenly shifted. The sun rises in the west, gravity pulls sideways, and people communicate through thoughts rather than words. As bewildering as this might seem, it invites us to wonder, how do our convictions shape the very reality we experience? This question touches on a profound philosophical dilemma. Is belief merely a personal perspective, or does it construct the world around us? At the heart of this inquiry lies the relationship between belief and reality, one explored by philosophers like Immanuel Kant, who argued that our understanding of the world is shaped by the categories of our mind. In his Critique of Pure Reason, Kant suggested that while we can know things as they appear to us, we cannot access the thing in itself, the objective reality outside our perceptions. From this perspective, beliefs color our interpretation of reality, creating a unique tapestry from each person's perspective. Yet, can our beliefs construct reality itself? Contrasting this view, we find the pragmatism of William James, who posited that beliefs bear practical consequences that can shape our experiences and environments. If we firmly believe in kindness, for instance, we may actively seek to create a loving atmosphere, which in turn alters our interactions and the world we inhabit. This notion invokes a sense of agency, emphasizing how deeply embedded convictions can propel change in our lives and in society. Yet the fluid nature of belief raises its own set of philosophical concerns. Friedrich Nietzsche famously proclaimed that there are no facts, only interpretations. This perspective invites us to consider how deeply held beliefs can lead to conflicting realities. For instance, two individuals may witness the same event, but interpret it in entirely different ways, shaped by their personal convictions and histories. In this light, we begin to see how belief can lead not just to a different understanding of reality, but to entirely divergent experiences of it. In today's interconnected world, the power of belief takes on contemporary significance. Consider the realms of politics, ethics, and social justice, areas where deeply held convictions can inspire movements or ignite conflict. The rise of misinformation illustrates how beliefs, even if unfounded, can have tangible effects, shaping perceptions and influencing behavior. From climate change deniers to those who adhere to conspiracy theories, the potency of belief becomes evident as we witness its capacity to inspire both hope and harm. Yet as we explore this landscape of belief, we are left pondering, to what extent do our ideas create our reality? Is our world a manifestation of our convictions, or merely a canvas upon which we interpret our experiences? The answers may evade us, but through this reflective journey, we can challenge ourselves to examine our own beliefs and the realities they create, both personally and collectively. As you contemplate your own convictions, allow yourself to float amidst the ambiguity. What worlds are manifested through your beliefs? How do they intersect with those of others? In the end, perhaps it is the very act of questioning our beliefs that shapes reality, nudging us toward deeper understanding and connection. As we drift through this intricate web, may we engage in a gentle exploration of how belief influences not just the world we experience, but the very essence of our existence. The enchantment of ordinary moments. Where does magic live? Imagine for a moment that you're sitting in your favorite chair, a warm cup of tea resting in your hands. Outside, the world moves in its usual pace. Children laughing, the rustle of leaves in the breeze, the faint sound of distant music. In this serene moment, you might wonder, where does the magic of life truly reside? Is it in grand adventures or in the small details of our everyday experiences? This dilemma invites us to explore the nature of magic. Whether that sensation of wonder lies in extraordinary events or within the ordinary moments we often overlook. Philosophers have pondered these questions for centuries, unveiling perspectives that invite us to reflect deeply on our lived experiences. The Stoics, for instance, believed that tranquility and contentment arise from acknowledging the present moment and appreciating its fleeting beauty. This perspective reminds us that magic often hides in the simplest of joys: a fleeting conversation, a smile from a stranger, the changing colors of the sky. In contrast, existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre suggest that meaning is not inherent. Instead, we ascribe significance to our experiences through conscious choices. From this view, perhaps magic is not a universal truth waiting to be discovered, but rather a personal creation, illuminated in those quiet moments that resonate deeply with our hearts. Each person may find their own sources of enchantment, whether it is the warmth of friendship, the thrill of creative expression, or the beauty in nature. Does this mean that the extraordinary loses its value? Not necessarily. Historical narratives often remind us that remarkable events can catalyze profound shifts in our understanding of the world. Yet, in an age dominated by headlines and curated online lives, we might question whether the allure of the exceptional distracts us from experiencing the inherent beauty of the mundane. Immanuel Kant emphasized the importance of perception, how our minds shape our experiences of beauty and wonder. Do we need a grand narrative to recognize magic, or can we uncover it in the rhythms of daily life? Today, in a fast-paced society rife with distractions, the allure of the extraordinary often pulls our attention away from the quiet moments that fill our days. The current trend of mindfulness practices encourages us to slow down, urging individuals to embrace the present by focusing on their surroundings and emotions. As we draw breath and examine the sensations of life, we may begin to find enchantment not as an elusive concept, but as a gentle presence, whispering in our ears. Yet, this perspective has its critics. Some argue that ordinary moments are inherently mundane, and there lies a risk of romanticizing the banal. Are we not merely avoiding the complexities of existence by focusing on the trivial? In grappling with this, we are led back to the old question: is the profound truly hidden in the ordinary, or is our longing for magic merely a reflection of our desire to escape from the weighty realities of life? Ultimately, the exploration of where magic lives serves as an invitation, a call to embrace both the extraordinary and the ordinary, letting them coalesce in our understanding of existence. Maybe there's no need for a definitive answer. Perhaps the real magic lies not in defining its location, but in the willingness to remain curious, open to the possibility that enchantment could dwell within the simplest joys, woven seamlessly into the fabric of our daily lives. What will you do to seek magic today? The question remains, waiting for your answer. The language of symbols. What do they mean in our lives? Imagine walking through a dense forest at dawn, the mist wrapping around the trees like a comforting blanket, when suddenly you stumble upon a stone, perfectly shaped like a heart. At first glance, it appears just a curious piece of nature, yet in that moment, it resonates deeply with your feelings of love and connection. What could this heart-shaped stone mean? Is it mere coincidence, or does it carry a significance that lingers in the air like the morning dew? The language of symbols envelops our lives in profound ways, echoing through our thoughts and emotions. They serve as bridges, connecting what we can see to what we can feel, our aspirations, fears, joys, and sorrows. Philosophers like Carl Jung have suggested that symbols arise from a collective unconscious, representing universal experiences and emotions that transcend individual cultures. Imagery like the heart, the anchor, or the sun carries meanings that vary yet resonate deeply within our shared humanity, pointing not just toward personal interpretations, but toward a kind of shared tapestry of existence. In contrast, postmodern thinkers often argue that symbols are subjective, constructed through cultural contexts and personal experiences. For them, the meaning of a symbol is not inherent but fluid, shifting with the lens through which we view the world. A heart can signify love, sorrow, passion, or even heartbreak, depending on the narrative we weave around it. This relativistic approach invites us to question: is there a universal meaning that we can ascertain from symbols, or are they merely reflective of our own interpretations and experiences? Take, for instance, the enduring symbol of the dove. In many cultures, it signifies peace and reconciliation, a beacon of hope amidst chaos. Yet, for someone who has grown up in a conflict-ridden environment, a dove may represent futility or loss. The dichotomy raises an intriguing philosophical question. How can an entity embody such contrasting significances? Perhaps it reflects human experience itself, where symbols act as mirrors, reflecting not just universal aspirations, but also personal sorrows and histories. In our modern world, where images hover incessantly on screens and symbols flit by in endless variety, we must ask ourselves how these symbols shape our identities and interactions. Emoji, corporate logos, even street signs, each serves as a symbol, rich with layered meanings. A thumbs up can convey approval or mockery, while a red stop sign prompts us to halt in our tracks. As we navigate this symbolic landscape, we may wonder, do we retain agency over our interpretations, or are we adrift in a sea of meanings created by others? Perhaps the heart of this exploration lies in the ability of symbols to evoke emotional responses and provoke thought. In creating connection between the seen and unseen, they remind us of our shared aspirations, fears, and dreams. As we find symbols resonating in our lives, the heart-shaped stone beneath those trees might encourage us to reflect deeper on what love means to us individually and collectively. As we ponder the language of symbols, we embark on a journey that is both personal and universal. What do these symbols reveal about our own lives and the lives of others? How do we choose to interpret them? The questions left in their wake remain a testament to the depths of human experience, beckoning us to explore meanings anew and inviting us into a dialogue that might never reach a final conclusion. Such is the beauty of the symbolic language we share. It invites not definitive answers, but an endless exploration of understanding. The ethics of technology. Can progress lead to disconnection? Imagine a world where every question you have can be answered in seconds, where your friends are only a swipe away, and where communication transcends physical boundaries. Technology has advanced rapidly, connecting us in ways previously unimaginable. Yet, as we revel in this interconnected landscape, we find ourselves grappling with an unsettling question. Has our relentless chase for progress led us to a deeper disconnection from one another and ourselves? This dilemma, often explored in philosophical discourse, asks whether technological advancements enhance our lives or create an illusion of connection, while leaving us isolated in an emotional and existential sense. The notion of social media serves as a prime example. Platforms designed to foster relationships often lead to feelings of loneliness as we substitute genuine conversations with likes, shares, and emojis. The philosopher Martin Heidegger warned that technology can turn our interactions into mere transactions, reducing our human experience to utilitarian exchanges. Consider Heidegger's concept of enframing, where technology transforms our perception of the world into something manageable and controllable. This enframing risks alienating us from genuine experiences, as we become more attuned to operating systems and algorithms than to the complexities of human interactions. Are we becoming mere spectators in our own lives, filtered through screens and avatars? Contrasting this perspective, one could lean toward the optimistic view held by philosophers like Marshall McLuhan, who argued that technology is an extension of ourselves. By communicating instantaneously and accessing vast knowledge, we can bridge both temporal and geographical divides, creating communities around shared interests, experiences, and passions. From this viewpoint, technology can enrich our lives, enhancing not just our network, but also our understanding of different cultures and ideas. Yet the excitement of connectivity raises another question. A caveat, if you will. Does the quality of our connections suffer when they are mediated through devices? When we scroll through curated feeds, how often do we pause to consider the authenticity behind the glossy images and encapsulated thoughts? Philosopher Byung-Chul Han posits that in our quest for connection, we may inadvertently cultivate superficial relationships devoid of the depth found in profound emotional exchanges. Are we trading the nourishment of deep conversations for the convenience of digital interactions? In our lives today, we navigate a multitude of tools, from smartphones to virtual reality, each shaped by our desire for connection, yet paradoxically creating barriers between us. The rise of AI and machine learning further complicates this landscape. Algorithms can predict our preferences and provide tailored content, but at what cost? Are we surrendering our agency, growing more reliant on automated systems that might understand our data but lack the capacity for empathy? As we reflect upon these themes, it becomes clear that the ethics of technology are enmeshed in the ongoing tension between connection and disconnection. We are propelled forward into an age defined by rapid advancements, yet we must remain vigilant. Amidst the allure of progress, let us not overlook the profound ways in which we relate to one another as sentient beings. Moreover, as we ponder our trajectory, we invite inquiry rather than resolution. As technology continues to evolve, how might we ensure that it serves to deepen our human experience rather than diminish it? Can the tools we create enhance our relationships and enrich our connections authentically? In the echo of these questions lies an invitation for introspection, an ever-present call to examine our choices within the digital realm and the world beyond it, reminding us that the path forward is as much about making connections as it is about being aware of what we risk losing in the process. Finding joy in simplicity, what can minimalism teach us? Imagine standing in a room filled with countless objects, books stacked high, clothes spilling from drawers, furniture competing for space. For a moment, take a deep breath and consider, how much of it truly brings you joy? What if instead you inhabited a space defined by simplicity, where each item serves a purpose or holds a memory and nothing excess weighs on your mind. This scenario nudges us toward the philosophical exploration of minimalism and invites us to ask, what can it teach us about happiness and a meaningful life? Minimalism encourages a return to the essentials, rooted in the belief that happiness does not stem from material accumulation, but rather from a deep appreciation for what we already possess. This idea echoes the sentiments of philosophers like Epicurus, who argued that pleasure is derived not from indulgence, but from tranquility and a simple life. He proposed that joy is most profound when we allow ourselves to savor the small, everyday moments, sharing a meal with loved ones, watching the sunset, or enjoying a quiet morning with a cup of tea, rather than pursuing endless desires shaped by societal expectations. However, contrasting views emerge when we consider the thoughts of Immanuel Kant, who highlights the importance of duty and the moral imperatives that guide our actions. For Kant, true fulfillment comes from following reason and moral laws rather than the pursuit of pleasure. One might ponder, is minimalism merely a strategy for personal joy, or does it also inspire a broader ethical vision that centers around sustainability and mindfulness in our consumption? In our modern world, the clutter of advertisements, social media, and the relentless pace of life can distract us from what is genuinely meaningful. The minimalist movement arises as a reaction against this overwhelming noise, prompting us to redefine abundance and wealth. By shedding the excess, individuals report newfound clarity, peace, and even creativity, gifts that seem to flourish in a space unencumbered by the burdens of unneeded possessions. Yet the question looms, does minimalism advocate for deprivation? Not necessarily. Philosophers like Thoreau remind us that simplicity is not about sacrificing joy. Rather, it's about aligning our surroundings with our values and prioritizing genuine experiences over transient pleasures. As we disentangle ourselves from consumerism, we must ask how our choices impact others and the environment. Could the act of simplifying one's life provoke a greater consciousness regarding global issues like overconsumption and environmental degradation? Still, can we consider whether minimalism might shift into a form of elitism, promoting a lifestyle inaccessible to those who struggle with basic needs? As we reflect on minimalism, we must remember that the essence of joy is profoundly subjective. For some, happiness is found in simplicity, while for others, it might reside in the richness of shared experiences, cultural artifacts, or beloved collected items. As you reflect on these ideas, consider this. What does it mean for you personally to find joy in simplicity? How might embracing minimalism, with its call to curate our lives thoughtfully and intentionally, alter your perspective on happiness and fulfillment? The serenade of simplicity invites each of us to explore, yet ultimately we are left to chart our paths, discovering the joyful truths hidden within our own lives. So as you ponder this journey, remember, simplicity is not just a lack, it is a choice that can lead to unexpected depths of joy awaiting our embrace. Understanding fear. What does it protect and what does it limit? Imagine walking alone at night, the shadows stretching long and the air thick with silence. A shiver runs down your spine as you hear a rustle in the bushes. It could be nothing, just a breeze playing tricks, yet your heart races. Fear washes over you, a primal instinct that has ensured humanity's survival for millennia. But here lies an intriguing question. What does this fear truly protect, and what doors does it close? Fear has long been a subject of fascination for philosophers, from Aristotle to Kierkegaard. Aristotle recognized it as a natural response that prompts caution, shaping behavior and decisions. Yet he also noted that unchecked fear could lead to paralysis, inhibiting one's potential. In more contemporary discussions, existentialist thinkers like Kierkegaard delved into the nuances of fear, arguing that embracing it can lead to a deeper understanding of existence, while simultaneously highlighting how it can inhibit our ability to engage with life fully. In its essence, fear serves a protective function. It alerts us to danger and mobilizes our instinct to escape or confront threats. Consider the famous fight-or-flight response. It heightens our senses, allowing us to react swiftly. From a psychological standpoint, fear can cultivate resilience, pushing us to confront challenges that might otherwise seem insurmountable. Think of the moments when fear catalyzed personal growth, public speaking, career changes, or emotional vulnerability. These experiences, though daunting, can lead to profound transformation. Yet, as the comforting embrace of protection envelops us, fear can also cast long shadows over our lives. It often builds formidable walls, stifling our desires for connection, adventure, or self-expression. In this way, fear can be a double-edged sword. While it saves us from physical harm, it can imprison our psyches, encouraging avoidance over engagement. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche famously declared that he who has a why to live for can bear almost any how. In this light, fear may limit our sense of purpose, steering us away from paths that, although uncertain, might lead to fulfillment and authenticity. In our modern landscape, the stakes of fear have intensified. We navigate a world filled with instant information, where the echoes of global crises seep into our consciousness, amplifying anxiety and uncertainty. The fear of failure, of rejection, of the unknown, these can loom larger than life itself. In this state, we often grapple with social media, where the fear of judgment can hinder genuine self-expression and connection. The irony is that while fear can guard us from judgment and vulnerability, it may also prevent us from forming the authentic relationships we crave. As we reflect on our personal experiences with fear, we might ask ourselves, is our fear serving us, or are we serving our fear? While it is natural to seek safety, the challenge lies in recognizing when fear transitions from protector to captor. Can we learn to navigate our fears, distinguishing between those that arise from real threats and those born from self-doubt or societal pressure? How might we embrace fear as a component of our human experience, allowing it to motivate growth rather than impede it? In inviting these questions into our reflections, we embark on a journey of self-discovery. The dual nature of fear stands before us as an open-ended exploration. It champions both our preservation and our limitation. As we confront this paradox, perhaps the greatest act of courage is not in the absence of fear, but in our conscious decision to engage with it, transforming our understanding of what fear truly protects and what it ultimately limits. The complexity of love. Is it a feeling, a choice, or both? Imagine standing at a crossroads where two paths diverge into the lush unknown. One path represents love as a pure, spontaneous emotion that sweeps over us like a warm breeze, uncontrollable and instinctual. The other embodies love as a deliberate choice, a commitment grounded in intention and decision. Which path resonates with your understanding of love? Is it a fleeting feeling that mysteriously comes and goes, or a conscious choice we actively make every day? This complexity of love spurs us into deep philosophical reflection about its very essence. Through history, thinkers like Plato pondered the nature of love in his dialogues, suggesting that it transcends mere affection and digs into the realm of the soul. On one hand, love seems to envelop us in an emotional tapestry woven from joy, passion, and longing, a feeling that often captures us unawares. Many argue that love is an innate human experience, a biological drive rooted in our evolutionary past, designed to create bonds that promote survival. This view views love as a natural impulse, akin to hunger or thirst, proof that our capacity for connection is hardwired into our very being. Yet, contrasting perspectives beckon us to explore love's nature as a choice. Existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre champion the idea that we are defined not only by our feelings but also by our choices. Sartre famously declared, "We are condemned to be free," emphasizing that every choice shapes our identity, including whom we love. Here, love becomes a conscious endeavor, a commitment nurtured over time through actions, sacrifices, and mutual respect. This perspective introduces a transformative dimension to love, challenging us to consider how we can cultivate and sustain meaningful connections. In our modern lives, the intersection of these two views becomes particularly relevant. Relationships often begin with an enticing spark, a feeling that may ignite a passionate romance. However, as time unfolds, the initial fervor often wanes, and love transitions into a practice, a choice we navigate in a world filled with distractions and challenges. Couples frequently face moments where love must shift from an emotional high to a conscious commitment, requiring persistence, patience, and understanding. Are we not reminded of this in the vows exchanged at weddings, where love is not just celebrated as a feeling but pledged as an enduring choice? Yet consider the emotional vulnerability that accompanies love. When a partner betrays our trust, the initial feeling might transform into anger or sadness. This phenomenon prompts a further question. If love can be so profoundly affected by choice, how do feelings complicate that choice? Can we choose to love someone fully, even when feelings falter or when conflicts arise? As we meander through these dilemmas, we find ourselves contemplating whether this intricate dance between feeling and choice gives rise to a more profound, richer understanding of love. The complexity lies not in favoring one perspective over the other, but in embracing the duality of love as both a feeling that sweeps us away and a choice that grounds us. So we find ourselves back at the crossroads, pondering this intricate tapestry of human experience. Perhaps love is not confined to a single definition, but is an ever-evolving journey that invites us to explore its depths, unravel its mysteries, and shape our connections through both emotion and intention. In this ongoing exploration, we are left not with a definitive answer, but with an invitation to reflect on our own paths, choices, and the complex symphony that is love itself. The cycle of life. What does birth and death teach us? Imagine standing on the shore, watching the waves gently lap at your feet under the vast expanse of an open sky. Each wave ebbs and flows, carrying shells and seaweed back and forth, much like the rhythm of life it symbolizes, an endless cycle of birth and death, creation and decay. In contemplating this cycle, we find ourselves prompted to reflect on profound questions. What do birth and death truly teach us? Are they mere endpoints on a linear path, or do they open the doors to deeper understandings of existence? The philosopher Martin Heidegger once suggested that our awareness of mortality is fundamental to understanding what it means to be human. Death, he argued, gives our lives urgency and meaning. Without it, we may float aimlessly in a sea of existence, detached from the value of our actions and choices. Birth, on the other hand, represents hope and potential, bursting forth into the world with possibilities. These two events encapsulate our temporal experience, reminding us of both our fragility and our potential to create, influence, and connect. Contrasting with Heidegger, existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre took a different stance, emphasizing the absurdity of life. For them, birth is nothing more than an arbitrary arrival into a world devoid of inherent meaning. Sartre famously declared that existence precedes essence, suggesting we define ourselves through our actions rather than through predetermined purposes bestowed upon us by birth. In this view, death serves merely as the final curtain, a closure to a narrative that we alone have crafted in our existential solitude. Yet what relevance does this cycle of birth and death hold for us today? In a world filled with constant reminders of life's fragility, be it from the advancements in medical science or the climate crisis, understanding our mortality can invite a deeper appreciation of our present moment. The idea of memento mori, a reminder of our inevitable death, can encourage us to live more fully. When we consider how quickly life can change, perhaps we are spurred into action, fostering connections with loved ones or pursuing dreams we once put aside. Moreover, various cultural perspectives contribute to how we perceive this cycle. Many indigenous cultures hold a deep reverence for the interconnectedness of life and death. The belief that all beings are part of a greater ecological web imbues both birth and death with profound significance. This perspective teaches not only that we are born and destined to die, but also that our lives reverberate through the lives of others, human and non-human alike. In our modern, often individualistic societies, such insights remind us to cultivate empathy and recognize our responsibilities toward one another and the planet. As we sit with these reflections, we might feel a mix of comfort and discomfort. Can we embrace both the joy of life and the inevitability of death without allowing fear to overshadow our existence? How do the cycles around us inspire notions of renewal and transformation? The teachings brought forth by birth and death offer a rich tapestry of thought, urging us to explore the intertwining of joy and sorrow, potential and loss. In quiet contemplation, we may sit with these questions, recognizing that the cycle continues even as we search for answers. So as we stride through life, may we hold space for both the beginnings that inspire hope and the endings that remind us to cherish our shared humanity, ever mindful of the waves, eternal in their ebb and flow, What truths lie waiting for us in this delicate dance of existence? Exploring the concept of fate, do we have a choice? Imagine standing at a crossroads, each path leading to a different life, defined by countless choices yet unmade. To your left, the road winds through a vibrant forest of opportunities, career changes, new friendships, and adventures. To your right, a narrow path hardens under familiar feet, promising safety within its routine but potentially leading to regret. In this moment, an unsettling question arises. Are these choices truly yours to make, or are you merely following a predetermined fate? The concept of fate has intrigued philosophers for centuries, entwining itself with questions of free will and moral responsibility. If fate governs our lives, can we still claim to make choices? The ancient Greek Stoics believed in a deterministic universe, where every event, including human actions, is part of a divine plan. To them, accepting fate was a form of wisdom, encouraging individuals to live in accordance with nature's order. However, this acceptance raises a dilemma. If everything is predetermined, do our choices hold any significance? Contrasting with the Stoic view, existentialist philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre advocated the idea that existence precedes essence. Sartre argued that we are condemned to be free, burdened by the weight of our choices and the responsibility they bring. In his eyes, our lives are not scripted. Rather, we are free to create meaning through our decisions. This perspective empowers us to break the chains of fate, propelling us toward a life of authenticity and purpose. Yet, the dance between fate and free will often finds its way into modern-day dilemmas. Consider the realm of technology. With social media algorithms steering our choices, can we truly claim autonomy? It can feel as though our preferences are subtly shaped by unseen forces, questioning the very fabric of our agency. Are we the masters of our destiny, or are we subjects of a predetermined narrative shaped by external pressures? The notion of fate also intersects with the psychological idea of cognitive biases. Research indicates that we often believe we are in control of our decisions, yet our minds can lead us astray. Factors such as societal influence and emotional states can cloud our reasoning, shaping our choices in ways we may not fully understand. This raises the unsettling possibility that even if we feel we are making independent choices, we may merely be puppets dancing to the strings of our circumstances. As we reflect on these ideas, we are drawn into the depths of introspection. Perhaps the truth lies within the complexity of our experiences. While we navigate life's uncertainties, a harmonious blend of fate and free will might be at play. Our paths may be influenced by circumstances beyond our control, yet within that tapestry we find moments to exercise our choices, small acts that define our characters and shape our journeys. Leaving this contemplation, we might ask ourselves how we reconcile the tension between fate and choice in our own lives. Are there moments where acceptance brings peace, and others where courage to choose ignites transformation? As we stand at our own crossroads, we find both solace and challenge in the ambiguity of existence, an ongoing journey toward understanding who we are amid the dance of fate and choice. How stories build community. What is our collective narrative? Imagine a small village gathered around a flickering fire under a vast, starry sky. Elders recount the tales of their ancestors, stories of love, loss, triumph, and tragedy. Each voice weaves into the fabric of the night, and as the tales unfold, a sense of belonging envelops everyone present. Each person feels a connection not just to the stories being shared, but also to each other, to a lineage that binds them across generations. In that moment, the village becomes more than a collection of individuals. It transforms into a vibrant community shaped by a collective narrative. The essence of this scenario invites us to ponder a profound question. What role do stories play in shaping our identities and the communities we inhabit? Philosophical reflections on narrative and community often blossom in the fertile ground of thinkers like Judith Butler, who asserts that identities are formed through our narratives, as well as Hannah Arendt, who highlights the pivotal role of storytelling in fostering a shared world. When we share experiences and recount our histories, we engage in a delicate dance that involves not merely exchanging facts, but constructing meaning together. Contrastingly, a more skeptical view might arise from the thoughts of Friedrich Nietzsche. He warned that narratives can impose restrictive frameworks on our lives, potentially stifling individuality under the weight of tradition. For Nietzsche, the problem lies in overly rigid tales that can limit our capacity for self-creation and reinvention. Are there narratives we collectively embrace that undermine the richness of individual experiences? In striving for a shared identity, do we risk marginalizing those who do not fit neatly into the prevailing stories? In our modern age, these considerations become ever more relevant. With social media shaping how we express and consume narratives, we witness a broader spectrum of voices sharing their stories. Platforms that once seemed to unify us can also fragment our communities as differing narratives clash online. Yet consider how movements such as Me Too and Black Lives Matter have emerged, rooted in the power of individual stories to illuminate systemic injustices. Such narratives expose the shared struggles of countless individuals while creating a call for solidarity and change. Yet we must ask ourselves, can we find a collective narrative in such diverse experiences? Or is the cacophony of voices a sign of fragmentation rather than unity? The philosopher Emmanuel Levinas speaks to the importance of the other in our narratives. Acknowledging the stories of others allows us to expand our own understanding of community. Perhaps the path forward lies in embracing a polyphonic narrative, one that honors multiple experiences while fostering connection. As we reflect on how stories construct our communities, it is essential to hold space for these questions without rushing to a conclusion. What stories resonate with you, within your community? Which tales may have been overlooked? As you ponder these thoughts, consider how you might contribute to your collective narrative. In this ongoing dialogue of stories shared and lives interwoven, may we continue to explore what it truly means to belong, recognizing that perhaps our greatest strength lies in the diversity of experiences that shape our shared existence. The Aesthetics of Impermanence. Why do we find beauty in fragility? Imagine a cherry blossom tree in full bloom, its delicate pink petals glistening in the sunlight. As you admire its beauty, a breeze rustles through the branches, causing the blooms to fall effortlessly to the ground. Each petal represents a fleeting moment, a brief encounter with beauty that will soon fade, leaving only memory in its wake. Why does this transient beauty resonate with us? What is it about fragility that invites admiration and reflection? This exploration of impermanence reveals a profound philosophical dilemma. At its core lies the question of whether beauty is best appreciated in its ephemerality. The Japanese concept of mono no aware, which translates to the pathos of things, celebrates the beauty found in the transitory nature of life. The poet Matsuo Basho captured this sentiment perfectly in his haiku, urging us to embrace the ephemeral moments that evoke deep emotional responses. To what extent, then, does our appreciation of beauty hinge on its fleeting nature? Contrastingly, the perspective of Plato presents a more fixed approach to beauty. For Plato, beauty is an ideal form, eternal and unchanging, embodying truth and goodness. His view suggests that true beauty lies in the realm of permanence, rather than in the impermanent aspects of the material world. This creates a tension. Can we reconcile our heart's longing for eternal beauty with the reality of life's evanescence? Modern thinkers, such as Susan Sontag, further complicate our understanding of beauty and fragility. Sontag argued that art, particularly photography, often captures moments that emphasize both beauty and decay, prompting us to confront our mortality. This duality compels us to engage with art on both an emotional and intellectual level. The impermanence of these captured moments forces us to reflect on our own lives, reminding us that we too are susceptible to time's relentless passage. This aesthetic appreciation of fragility finds resonance in contemporary life, particularly in a world driven by the hurried pursuit of success and material stability. As we navigate through the hustle, we are often drawn to experiences that remind us of life's temporality. Sunsets, with their vibrant hues quickly fading, or the laughter of a child, each moment an echo that will soon dissolve. We may find solace in the art of minimalism, where the focus on fewer possessions allows for deeper connections to the ephemeral joy found in simplicity. Yet it begs the question, does our attraction to beauty and fragility stem from a fear of loss, or a deeper understanding of life's cycle? As we witness the blooming and wilting of petals, do we not also reach for a sense of appreciation for the present? Perhaps it's an acknowledgement of the interconnectedness of existence, a recognition that life's beauty is often accentuated by its impermanence. As we reflect on these ideas, it becomes clear that the aesthetics of impermanence invite us into a dance of acceptance and awareness. How might our lives shift if we embrace the beauty in fragility rather than resisting it? When we acknowledge the transient nature of beauty, perhaps we can find deeper meaning in our connections, experiences, and even our sorrows. It may be here, in this quiet acceptance, that we truly begin to understand the intricate tapestry of life, a tapestry woven with fleeting yet beautiful threads. What will you choose to cherish in your own journey through impermanence? The interconnectedness of all beings. What does this mean for us? Imagine standing in a vast forest, the sun filtering softly through the leaves, and as you breathe in the fresh, earthy scent, you notice a singular leaf gently falling from a nearby branch. In that moment, consider how that tiny leaf's descent is intricately connected to the whole ecosystem around you, the tree it belongs to, the soil nurturing its roots, the creatures that feed on it, and ultimately, the air shared by every living thing. What if you were to pause and reflect on this moment, contemplating the deeper implications of such interconnectedness? How do we understand our place within this intricate web of existence? At the heart of this reflection lies a philosophical inquiry that challenges us to rethink not just our relationship with nature, but with each other. The idea of interconnectedness is deeply rooted in many philosophical traditions, from Eastern philosophies like Buddhism, which emphasizes the concept of interdependence, to Western thinkers like Spinoza, who posited that everything is part of an infinite substance, God or nature. For Spinoza, recognizing this interconnection leads us towards greater compassion and understanding, persuading us to live harmoniously with nature and one another. Contrast this perspective with Kant's notion of individual autonomy. Kant emphasizes the importance of rationality and individual moral agency, arguing that each person is an end in themselves. While this view champions personal freedom and moral responsibility, it can also lead to a sense of separation from the world around us. In contemporary times, this tension between interconnectedness and autonomy continues to manifest in our societal structures, leading us to question how our actions affect those beyond our immediate circle. The urgency of this question is becoming ever more relevant today. In an era defined by climate change, social inequality, and globalized communication, the consequences of our interconnectedness are more palpable than ever. When a factory pollutes a river in one part of the world, it doesn't merely affect local fish, it can disrupt entire communities far downstream. The realization that our lives are woven into a shared tapestry begs the question, what responsibilities do we hold toward each other and the environment? Moreover, consider the movements advocating for social justice, where collective action bears the weight of individuality. This echoes Martin Buber's philosophy of dialogical existence, where true selfhood emerges in relationships with others. If we view ourselves primarily as isolated entities, we might struggle with the ethical implications of our interconnectedness, failing to recognize that our choices directly impact others' lives, hopes, and futures. Yet, as we ponder these deep philosophical dilemmas, we must also arrive at an uncomfortable truth. Recognizing our interconnectedness invites a profound sense of vulnerability. It implies that our well-being is intertwined with the well-being of others. This realization can lead to both despair and hope. Despair arises from the burdens of responsibility and the scale of problems we face, while hope can emerge from the knowledge that change is possible. When we operate with empathy, fostering connections, cultivating compassion, and working collectively toward solutions. But perhaps this lingering question remains: what does it truly mean to be interconnected in our daily lives? How can we nurture a sense of responsibility without succumbing to the weight of despair? The journey towards understanding interconnectedness is ongoing, a delicate balancing act between individual agency and collective existence. As you reflect on your own life and the threads that connect you to the world around you, what insights or actions will you take to embrace this intricate web of relationships? The exploration continues, inviting you to ponder how we can move forward in a world that seeks both connection and understanding. The role of imagination. How does it shape our reality? Imagine walking through a sunlit forest, feeling each gentle breeze and the soft rustle of leaves. What lies before you bursts with vibrant colors and fragrances you've never encountered. Yet, as you inhale deeply, you realize the forest is an invention of your mind. This thought experiment beckons the question, how does imagination shape our reality, blurring the lines between what exists and what is merely conjured in our minds? The role of imagination is profound, acting as both a gift and enigma. Philosophically, imagination has been a topic of immense contemplation. Jean-Paul Sartre argued that our imagination allows us to transcend the mundane limitations of existence and create a world of infinite possibilities. Through imagination, we can envision futures, explore other lives, and even empathize with experiences far removed from our own. Just as we can visualize a grand adventure or a peaceful escape, we also find ourselves grappling with the time-worn inquiry, does our imaginative capacity construct our reality or merely enrich it? On one side of the philosophical divide, Immanuel Kant posited that reality is fundamentally shaped by our perceptions, thus suggesting that imagination is central to how we interpret and engage with the world. To Kant, our minds function as active participants in our experience of reality, deciding how to frame and understand our external encounters. This view prompts a reflection. When we imagine a better future, are we not, in some way, working to manifest that vision into existence? Conversely, the skeptical voice of David Hume cautions that our imagination can lead us astray, filling our minds with fantasies that corrupt our understanding. Hume saw imagination as unreliable, reminding us that what we dream or dread does not inherently reflect the fabric of reality. For him, unchecked imagination could cultivate illusions that distract us from rational thought and empirical evidence. Yet in our daily lives, we often draw on imagination to process emotions, envision possibilities, and create meaning. Which begs the question, is imagination a catalyst for action, or does it drive us further into disillusion? In modern contexts, the implications of imagination are intertwined with technology and creativity. Innovations in virtual reality and immersive storytelling highlight how imagination can create shared experiences, transcending physical boundaries and uniting people across the globe. Yet as we curate these digital realms, we must ponder, do we risk losing touch with our authentic experiences, hiding within the imagined instead of confronting the tangible? Moreover, as we navigate the complexity of current societal challenges, climate change, inequity, discord, it is our imagination that enables us to envision solutions and navigate paths toward greater harmony. Perhaps imagination serves as a double-edged sword, with the power to construct both hope and despair. As you sit with these thoughts, consider how imagination permeates your own life. What visions have you conjured that felt deeply real? What realities have you shaped through the lens of your imagination? It's crucial to remember that though imagination can guide us toward new horizons, it can also lead us into mazes of complexity. Ultimately, the role of imagination remains an open field of inquiry. It stirs our souls and shapes our world, yet its interplay with reality continues to unfold in mysterious ways. As you ponder, allow yourself to wonder about the vast potential of human imagination, how it can both illuminate paths and construct barriers. In this gentle exploration, may you find comfort in the uncertainty, inviting contemplation to weave its way into your own understanding of reality's fabric. The search for authenticity. What does it mean to be genuine? Imagine standing before a mirror, gazing at your own reflection. Behind that surface lies a deeper question. Who exactly are you? Are you the person you present to the world, molded by expectations and societal norms, or are you the quiet whispers of your unfiltered self? The search for authenticity, the quest to be genuine in a world overflowing with artifice, unfolds as a profound philosophical dilemma, one that invites us to ponder the essence of our identity. Authenticity is a concept explored extensively by existential philosophers such as Jean-Paul Sartre and Martin Heidegger. Sartre posited that we are condemned to be free, faced with the daunting task of defining ourselves through our choices. In this perspective, authenticity arises when we confront the absurdity of existence and choose to act in alignment with our true selves, rather than succumbing to societal pressures. Yet, this act of self-definition is fraught with challenges. What if our choices are influenced by external forces, rendering our authenticity merely a reflection of those influences? Heidegger introduced the notion of being in the world, calling attention to our interconnectedness with others and our surroundings. He suggested that our sense of self is shaped not only by inward reflection, but also by our relationships with the world around us. This interconnectedness complicates the search for a genuine self. How can we distinguish our own desires from those imposed upon us by family, culture, and society? Are we ever truly free to be ourselves, or are we shadows cast in response to external light? In our modern era, the pursuit of authenticity thrives amidst a cacophony of social media voices, curated feeds, and influencer lifestyles. We find ourselves swept into a whirlwind of comparison, drawn to dreamlike images of curated lives that may bear little resemblance to reality. The philosopher and social critic Herbert Marcuse foresaw this dilemma, warning of a society where genuine needs and feelings become subordinate to shallow commodities. In this world, what does it mean to be genuine? Is authenticity synonymous with being true to oneself, or does it require acknowledging and navigating the intricate webs of societal expectations? In practical terms, consider how this search for authenticity manifests today. Many people embark on journeys of self-discovery, seeking to align their external expressions, career choices, relationships, and appearances with their internal truths. Yet the danger lies in the very act of seeking. In striving for authenticity, could we inadvertently reinforce the very structures we wish to escape? This paradox invites us to reflect on whether authenticity is a fixed state we can achieve, or a continual process of becoming. As we delve deeper into this dilemma, we realize that the landscapes of our identities may forever remain uncertain and fluid. Perhaps authenticity is less about arriving at a definitive self, and more about embracing the myriad roles we play, acknowledging our contradictions, vulnerabilities, and complexities. The contemplative philosopher Henri Nouwen argued that true authenticity might arise from our willingness to engage with our struggles honestly, fostering connections with others through shared experiences and openness. In this ongoing quest for authenticity, we are left with more questions than answers. How do we discern the genuine from the false within ourselves? Can we ever truly escape the influences of society to discover our innermost selves? As we wander through the landscape of our identities, may we carry these questions gently in our hearts, allowing them to guide us in our quest for authenticity amidst the intricate dance of existence. The veil of sleep, what happens when we enter the dream state? Imagine, if you will, a vast and tranquil landscape unfolding before you as you drift into sleep. Colors wash over the horizon, and sounds blend into a symphony of serenity. In this dreamscape, realities shift, identities change, and even the laws of physics hold no sway. What happens within this ephemeral world we call dreams? Are they mere fantasies constructed by our subconscious, or do they offer a glimpse into a deeper layer of existence? The veil of sleep raises profound philosophical questions about the nature of reality, self, and consciousness itself. At its core, the dream state challenges our understanding of what it means to know something. Renowned philosopher René Descartes posited that our senses can be deceived, leading to the conclusion, "I think, therefore I am." But if dreams can feel so real, how do we distinguish between what is genuine and what is an elaborate illusion? The dreamer loses the compass of reality, navigating landscapes where logic dissolves. In this state, the boundaries of our identity blur, inviting us to consider if our waking selves are mere constructs, fragile and fleeting. Contrastingly, philosophers like Immanuel Kant would assert that dreams, while subjective, do not offer access to a transcendent reality, but instead reflect our inner psychological landscapes. Kant claimed that our perception is governed by a phenomenal world shaped by our senses. Thus, dreams may serve as a theater of experience, illuminating our desires, fears, and unresolved conflicts. In this interpretation, dreams don't reveal an external truth, but rather mirror the complexities of our consciousness. Yet, consider the perspective of philosophers like Carl Jung, who perceived dreams as pivotal to understanding the unconscious mind. Jung believed that dreams could serve as guides, tapping into universal archetypes and allowing us to confront our innermost selves. From this vantage point, the dream state becomes a bridge to self-awareness and personal growth, crafting narratives that beckon us towards self-discovery. But how does this all connect to our waking lives? The dream state, while transient, often influences our feelings and actions upon waking. Many people find themselves pondering the meanings behind their dreams, seeking insights or resolutions to waking troubles. In a world filled with distractions and noise, dreams may become a rare space for reflection and introspection, allowing us to process emotions we might otherwise suppress. At the same time, modern research links dream states to cognitive functions such as memory consolidation and problem solving. Neuroscience shows us that while we may wander through fantastical realms, our brains are busy stitching together fragments of experience, emotions, and ideas, weaving them into something coherent. Perhaps this suggests a dual existence. The dream world may challenge our engagements with reality, but it also enhances our understanding of it. As you reflect on the nuances of dream states, one wonders, are dreams a mere escape or a deeper inquiry into the self? Are they a source of wisdom or even a realm in which to explore the multifaceted nature of the human experience? As you slip into sleep tonight, let the veil of dreams beckon you, an invitation to traverse the unknown, where questions abound and understanding dances just beyond reach. Ultimately, the journey within the dream state reminds us that the boundaries of consciousness are ever expanding, waiting for us to explore them without fear. 49. Nature's patterns. How do they reflect life's rhythms? Imagine standing beneath a vast sky where clouds drift lazily, casting shadows over rolling hills adorned with flowers swaying gently in the breeze. Close your eyes for a moment and listen. The soft rustle of leaves, the melodic call of birds, the rhythmic ebb and flow of distant waves, all these sounds weave a tranquil tapestry that connects us to the very essence of life. In this serene setting, one might wonder, do these natural patterns echo the rhythms of our own lives? Nature flourishes in cycles, from the seasons that change with unerring precision to the life cycles of plants and animals that begin and end in harmony with their environment. This idea, that the patterns of nature reflect our existential rhythms, invites a philosophical inquiry into the meaning of these connections. The ancient philosopher Heraclitus famously asserted that everything flows, suggesting that change is the only constant in life. In nature, we see this reflected in the cyclical processes of birth, decay, and renewal, a constant reminder of our own temporality. Contrast this with the views of existentialists like Jean-Paul Sartre, who emphasize individual experience and choice over predetermined patterns. Sartre would argue that life is devoid of inherent meaning. It is up to the individual to impose their own order amidst chaos. Yet, when we observe the meticulous symphony of nature, one might question whether the rhythms of life are merely a product of personal choice, or if they are shaped by larger, universal patterns beyond our comprehension. In our modern world, filled with noise and frenetic activity, the connection to nature's rhythms may feel increasingly distant. The philosopher Martin Heidegger highlighted how our technological society can alienate us from our true essence, causing us to forget the profound relationships we have with the world around us. We are often so engrossed in our daily routines that we overlook the patterns inherent in nature, a sunset that signals the end of the day or the return of migratory birds heralding the arrival of spring. Yet, in times of uncertainty and anxiety, many find solace in reconnecting with these rhythms. Whether through walking in a forest or simply observing the changing of the seasons, we can rediscover our place within nature's larger narrative. This brings to mind the philosophy of process theorists, such as Alfred North Whitehead, who asserted that reality is not static but a continual process of becoming. Our lives are interwoven with these processes, suggesting that perhaps there is a deeper meaning encoded within nature's patterns. As we find ourselves entwined in these contemplations, we must also acknowledge the paradox of nature's beauty. It is both comforting and unsettling, a reminder of our fleeting existence amidst the relentless passage of time. For every blossom that blooms, there is a petal that falls. The rhythm of life is a dance of joy and sorrow, creation and dissolution, inviting us to reflect on our own experiences. In this reflective journey through the patterns of nature, one may ask, what do these rhythms reveal about our existence? Are we mere observers of life's intricate dance, or participants in a greater harmonious symphony? As we ponder these questions, we are left with the understanding that life's meaning may be as fluid and dynamic as the world around us, an open-ended exploration of connections that beckons us to listen more closely, to perceive with deeper awareness, and to embrace the rhythms that bind us all. The power of perspective. How does viewing life differently alter experience? Imagine standing on a cliff overlooking a vast ocean. On one side, the water glistens in the sunlight, waves dancing joyfully toward the shore. On the other, dark clouds gather ominously, casting shadows over the expanse. In that moment, you realize you have a choice: to focus on the beauty of the sun-kissed waves or to be overwhelmed by the impending storm. This simple choice encapsulates a profound philosophical dilemma. How does our perspective shape our experience of life? Throughout history, philosophers have pondered the impact of perspective on human experience. The ancient Stoics, such as Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, emphasized the importance of internal control over one's perceptions. To a Stoic, it is not events themselves that disturb us, but our thoughts about those events. By refining our perspective, we can transform our emotional responses and navigate life's challenges with equanimity. They taught that our perceptions determine our reality, which echoes in contemporary mindfulness practices focused on being present and reframing our thoughts. Contrast this with existentialist thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre, who argued that we are condemned to be free, burdened by the weight of choice. In this view, our perspectives shape our identities and choices, making us responsible for creating meaning in an indifferent universe. Each perspective we adopt not only colors our reality, but also defines who we are and how we engage with the world. Sartre's philosophy challenges us to embrace the fluidity of experience, engaging fully with the myriad perspectives available to us. In a more contemporary context, consider the mindset of growth versus fixed intelligence, popularized by psychologist Carol Dweck. A growth mindset embraces challenges as opportunities for learning, while a fixed mindset views failures as a reflection of one's inability. This modern exploration speaks to how shifts in perspective can transform our relationship with failure and success, influencing our motivation and resilience. When we see obstacles as stepping stones rather than barriers, our experiences are enriched and our potential expands. This philosophical exploration of perspective is not merely theoretical. It resonates deeply with our everyday lives. Take, for instance, the experience of grief. Two individuals may lose a loved one, yet their responses can differ dramatically based on their perspectives. One might view the loss as a painful void, while another might reflect on the beauty of shared moments. The former may spiral into despair, while the latter finds healing in remembrance and gratitude. This illustrates how perspective can drastically alter our emotional landscape, impacting our journey through pain. Thus, the question arises: how can we cultivate a perspective that enhances our experience? This is an open-ended inquiry, inviting us to explore different viewpoints actively. Perhaps adopting a lens of gratitude could enrich our understanding, or embracing uncertainty could illuminate new pathways. In conclusion, the power of perspective shapes not only our experiences, but also our identities, philosophies, and ultimately our lives. As we stand at the edge of our own cliffs, faced with choices between darkness and light, let us reflect on the many ways that perspective can alter our course. How will you choose to view your own experiences? The answer is a personal journey, one worth contemplating as we navigate the depths and heights of existence.